Qing Shaoqing was choked by Qing Si's rebuke. Indeed, as long as it was a direct descendant of the Qing family, they all had the right to make the sky-shaking crossbow recognize its master. He was about to flare up when he caught a glimpse of the three ancestors of the Lan family standing not far away. He could not help but frown. Why did they follow him? He could not help but blame his subordinates in his heart for not stopping the members of the Lan family. In fact, this was not the fault of his subordinates. The three ancestors of the Lan family had followed Qing Shaoqing closely. They thought that Qing Shaoqing had acquiesced, so they did not stop him. Qing Shaoqing suppressed the anger in his heart and said coldly, "Now that you have tried it, and the Sky Cataclysm crossbow has no intention of acknowledging you as its master, you can leave now." Qing Si bit her lips and felt a little unwilling, but the heaven-shocking crossbow clearly had no intention of acknowledging her as its master. Could it be that she could only give up? At this time, the voice transmission talisman in her sleeve trembled again. She sent her spiritual sense into it, and after hearing what Yun Chuzhou said, her expression froze slightly. Then, she said to the heaven-shocking crossbow, "The heaven-shocking crossbow, I always thought that you were the most special, but I didn't expect that you didn't even have the courage to acknowledge me as your master. Forget it, I misjudged you." The sky-shocking crossbow was already extremely angry. Now that it was provoked by Qing Si's words, it immediately became even angrier. Just as it was about to fire the crossbow at Qing Si, it heard Qing Si say, "Si, I'm just feeling sorry for you. As a divine weapon, you've been staying in the warehouse all this time. Isn't it too sullen? Moreover, from the looks of it, you've suffered a lot. Don't you want to take revenge? Moreover, my cultivation is so low. I might die one day. When that time comes, you'll be free." After Qing Si finished speaking, she stared at the heaven-shocking crossbow nervously. These words were naturally taught to her by Yun Chuzhou. She could not think of these words by herself. However, could this work? The sky-shaking crossbow was somewhat persuaded. Yes, it was in the warehouse and didn't have much freedom. It might as well acknowledge this little girl as its master. Looking at her weak appearance, it wouldn't be able to do anything. Thus, the sky-shaking crossbow suddenly shrunk and flew into Qing Si's hand. "I think you should take a look at Qing Si," recalled Yun Chuzhou's instructions and immediately bit her index finger, dripping blood onto the sky-shaking crossbow to prevent any more trouble. Thus, under everyone's stunned gazes, Qing Si contracted the sky-shocking crossbow. Qing Shaoqing was so angry that he was about to vomit blood. What? The sky-shocking crossbow actually acknowledged Qing Si as its master? Qing Si was going to be given to Xianji as a furnace and cauldron. In the future, she would definitely not be able to escape the fate of death. When that time came, wouldn't the sky-shocking crossbow benefit Xianji? However, now that she had already contracted the sky-shocking crossbow, even if he was furious to death, there was nothing he could do. If he had known that the heaven-shocking crossbow was so easy to deceive, he would not have waited until now. It was really too late to regret. Qing Jin's face was filled with jealousy. She wished that she could snatch the heaven-shocking crossbow. She should not have listened to her elder sister in the first place. She should have just killed this bitch right away. Qing Yuanda and Jing Shi were both surprised and happy. No matter what, with the heaven-shocking crossbow, their daughter would have an additional means of self-protection in the future. This heaven-shocking crossbow was much more powerful than the King of Hell's needles. At this moment, the Gowei Batsao hidden in the distance was instantly thrown into chaos in the wind. It was over. It was completely over. That heaven-shocking crossbow had acknowledged Qing Si as its master, and Qing Si was the smelly girl's friend. Wouldn't it be exposed? Gowei Batsao was so regretful that it wanted to bang its head against the wall. If it had known this would happen, it would not have provoked that idiot, the heaven-shocking crossbow. But now, it had raised a stone to hit its own foot. It was simply too stupid. Gowei Batsao thought to itself, no matter what, it should run first. Perhaps that idiot, the heaven-shocking crossbow, would not tell Qing Si the truth because it cared about its face. So, Goei Butsao sneaked into an ant hole. After leaving the courtyard, she ran back to Yunchujia's courtyard. After the contract between Sky-Shocking Crossbow and Qing Si was completed, Sky-Shocking Crossbow was stunned to find that Goei Butsao was gone. Qing Si was very happy at this time. She asked, "Why did you attack the other spiritual weapons just now? Where is your enemy? I'll help you take revenge." The heaven-shocking crossbow wanted to tell the truth, but after thinking about it, it felt a bit embarrassing to say it out loud, so it snorted coldly and said, "I'll settle my own matters, don't bother yourself. You'd better mind your own business, little weakling." Qing Si, however, she wasn't angry. As time went by, people's hearts would be revealed. In the future, she would slowly subdue the heaven-shocking crossbow. She thought to herself, "Let's see." She knew that there was nothing that little Jiao could not solve. Little Jiao only needed to tell her a few words to subdue the heaven-shocking crossbow. She would definitely be able to help her deal with the Qing family's second branch. However, she did not know what method she used to anger the heaven-shocking crossbow. Little Jiao was really powerful. Qing Shiacheng's depression could be imagined. Not only did he lose a lot of spiritual weapons, but he also lost the heaven-shocking crossbow. He was simply extremely unlucky. How could this perfectly fine heaven-shocking crossbow go crazy? He could not help but look at the Lan family's ancestor suspiciously. However, he denied his own suspicions. The Lan family's guards had been arranged elsewhere by him, and the 3 members of the Lan family were all under his nose. There was no chance for them to make a move at all. "I think you should take a look at right now." His heart was in a mess, and he did not have the mood to feign civility with the Lan family's ancestor. He said perfunctorily, "Senior Lan, I've made a fool of myself. I still have to clean up this mess. We'll have a banquet to talk about it another day." The ancestor of the Lan family said with a faint smile, "You're too kind. Since that's the case, I'll return to the guest house first." After the ancestor of the Lan family finished speaking, he left with Elder Tua and Yunchujiao. When Qing Si saw that they had left, she tugged at Jingshi's sleeve. Immediately, the 3 of them left as well. What a joke. If they stayed here, were they going to wait to be cleaned up? Qing Shaoqing looked at the backs of the 3 of them with a gloomy face. If Qing Si was not useful to him, why would he spare the lives of the people from the main branch? However, as long as Xian Ji took her away, the people from the main branch would die. Qing Shaoqing shook his head. They don't know how to split themselves, so they didn't have the chance to make a move. Moreover, this storehouse is heavily guarded. If they did it, it's impossible not to alert the guards. Then what's going on? The sky-shaking crossbow can't be crazy, right? That girl Qing Si is really lucky. Qing Yuankue said with a hint of jealousy. Qing Shaoqing gritted his teeth. First, tidy up the warehouse. Then, send people to search the surroundings carefully to see if there's anything. Father, then should we make a move against the Lan family's patriarch and the others now? Qing Yuankue asked. Qing Shaoqing pondered for a moment. This is a very important matter. Let's try again. If the risk is too great, we don't need to take the risk for the sake of the bitter Zen sect. Yes, Father. Goei Butsao trembled as it hid in a corner of Yunchujia's bedroom. It felt that a great disaster was about to befall it. However, it discovered that there was nothing unusual after Yunchujio returned. Could it be that the heaven-shocking crossbow did not report it? However, it thought about it again. This wretched girl had many tricks up her sleeves. Perhaps she did it on purpose. It could not be fooled. Therefore, Goei Butsao was afraid for the whole night, but it did not get Yunchujia's anger. It finally put its heart back into its stomach. It guessed that it was right. The heaven-shocking crossbow loved to save face, so it did not say it out loud. It had to be said that that idiot finally did a good thing. After knowing that it would not be exposed, it began to feel a little smug. Not only did he destroy many of the Qing family's spiritual artifacts, but he also allowed Qing Si to obtain the heaven-shocking crossbow. Go Weiba had made another great contribution. Unfortunately, he could only be a nameless hero and silently contribute. He was really too great. Yun Shujiu was completely unaware of Go Weibakeo's inner drama. After she woke up, she did not wake up. Instead, she pondered over her next step. If she didn't want to fight head-on, she had to find the Qing family's second son's weakness and hit him with one strike. However, what was the Qing family's second son's weakness? Yun Shujiu's eyes suddenly lit up. The master of the Qing family, Qing Haotian, was still alive. It was very likely that he was under house arrest or controlled by Qing Shaoqing. If she could save him, the Emperor of the Narrow Sky would order the vassals, and then she could take the initiative. Thinking of this, Yun Shujiu immediately contacted Qing Si with a voice transmission talisman and obtained some useful information, such as Qing Haoshan's appearance, residence, and so on. In the corner, Goei Batsao was suddenly energized. Oh my, it was time for Goei Batsao to make a contribution again. This guy's idea was very simple. He felt that the more contributions he made, the lighter the punishment he would receive in the future. This was called atonement for his sins. Therefore, Goei Batsao did not care that it was still daytime. While Yun Shujiu was thinking of a solution, it slipped out through the crack of the door. I think you should take a look at Goei Batsao was very smart. It made full use of the bushes, ant holes and other cover, and was not discovered by anyone. Goei Batsao was so proud that it was almost floating. How could it be so outstanding? How could it be so outstanding? It was so powerful that it was not human. Well, it was not human in the first place. It was a unique grass. When it saw a cluster of mushrooms when it crawled through the grass, it immediately shook its leaves. It was neither as cute as Xiaomogu nor as pretty as Xiaomogu. Where did it get the courage to embarrass itself here? So, it directly tore the cluster of mushrooms into pieces. This guy played as he walked and finally arrived at Qing Haoshan's courtyard. There were many guards outside Qing Haoshan's courtyard, which could be said to be heavily guarded. Pandas novel. The courtyard was very large, with rockery and flowing water. The scenery was very good. However, Goei Batsao was not interested in it. Just as he was about to jump from room to room, he heard footsteps from outside. Goei Batsao hurriedly hid in the grass and sneakily looked outside. The person who came was Qing Shaoqing. He directly entered a room. Goei Batsao thought about it and did not dare to take the risk to enter. Instead, he leaned against the window to eavesdrop. "Father, your son has come to pay his respects to you," Qing Shaoqing said with some ridicule. Immediately after, an old voice said, "Get lost. I don't have a son like you, you beast." Goei Batsao thought that the old man who spoke was probably the current master of the Qing family, Qing Haotian. Qing Shaoqing said with a fake smile, "Father, your blood flows in my body, so even if you don't admit it, I'm still your son. Don't worry, as long as you hand over the position of master to me in 2 days, it'll be filial to you in the future. Of course, it doesn't matter even if you don't announce it. After all, once you die, the position of family head will still be mine." You beast. Qing Haotian was obviously very angry, and his voice was trembling. Qing Shaoqing changed the topic. "Father, I came to tell you that the sky-shaking crossbow has acknowledged its master." What? The sky-shaking crossbow has acknowledged its master? Who has it acknowledged? Qing Haotian was obviously very surprised. He did not care about anything else and asked directly. Qing Shaoqing sneered twice. The heaven-shocking crossbow actually recognized Qing Si as its master. It seems that the weapon spirit of the heaven-shocking crossbow is also an idiot. It actually chose the weakest trash. Cough cough. Cough cough. Good, this is the will of heaven. You racked your brains to get the heaven-shocking crossbow, but it was taken by that girl Qing Si. Good, this is really wonderful. Qing Shaoqing was so angry that his face turned ashen. He snorted coldly and said, so what if she got it? In the end, she still has to obediently become a furnace, a cauldron. You beast. You're not human. How could I raise such an ingrate like you? You'll die a horrible death. Qing Haotian scolded loudly. Father, you'd better save your strength. I didn't come here to listen to you scold me. Although the heaven-shocking crossbow is not ordinary, it's far from being comparable to that thing at the back of the mountain. If you tell me the secret of the back of the mountain, I won't kill those people from the main branch. Otherwise, none of the people from the main branch will be able to live. Those are your grandchildren. You won't leave them alive, right? Qing Shaoqing said coldly. The back of the mountain? There is nothing at the back of the mountain except for the mountain forest. Don't waste your strength. Qing Haotian said with a sneer. I think you should take a look at nothing. If there's nothing, why did that girl, Qing Si, go missing all those years ago? And why did she appear on another continent? Is there a teleportation array or some kind of spiritual weapon there? Qing Shaoqing asked. If you have doubts, you can send people to search for her. Evil creature, good and evil will be reaped in the end. You imprisoned your father and murdered your relatives. You will die a horrible death. Good, very good. Since you refuse to accept my offer, I will deal with you after I take over as the family head. At that time, I will kill all the people in the house one by one in front of you. Let's see if you will still be stubborn. Qing Haotian was so angry that he coughed and cursed. The faint sound of chains could be heard. Gowei Butsao thought to himself, could it be that the old man was chained? At this moment, Qing Shaoqing said again, oh right, the master of the Lan family is a guest in the mansion. Yuanda, that idiot, still wants to become in-laws with the Lan family. What a whimsical idea. The master of the Lan family is here? Qing Haotian asked in surprise with a hint of surprise in his tone. Father, do you still expect the master of the Lan family to save you? To tell you the truth, they may not be able to leave Green Valley alive. What do you mean? Do you want to attack the Lan family? Qing Haotian exclaimed. You don't have to worry about that. You'd better think about the things in the back of the mountain. Qing Shaoqing sneered. I've said it before. There are only mountains and forests in the back of the mountain. If you don't believe me, you can send people to search. After saying this, Qing Haotian didn't say anything no matter what Qing Shaoqing said. After a while, Qing Shaoqing angrily pushed the door open and walked out. Gowei Butsao was so scared that he almost fell off the windowsill. Fortunately, Qing Shaoqing was so angry that he did not pay attention to anything else. After Qing Shaoqing left, Gowei Butsao slipped through the crack in the door. There was only a big bed in the room, and an old man was trapped on it with a chain. The old man was described as thin as firewood. His eyes were dark and gloomy, and he looked like he was about to die. Gowei Butsao sighed in his heart. This old man was really miserable. However, it could not save him. Firstly, it did not have much spiritual power left. Secondly, even if it broke the old man's chain, the guards outside would not let him go. Gowei Butsao sneakily walked around the house and did not find anything else. It shook its leaves and sneaked out. When this guy sneaked back to Yun Chujio's courtyard, Yun Chujio was not there. Instead, she went to the Lan family's ancestors' courtyard. Patriarch, as you can see, the second branch of the Qing family clearly doesn't have good intentions. If we don't take the opportunity to kill them, once they completely take control of the Qing family, they will definitely be a hidden danger for us, Yun Chujio said. The Lan family's patriarch's face turned cold. He knew that Yun Chujio was right. Pandas novel. You are right, but the Green Valley is easy to defend and hard to attack. Moreover, the Divine Devil Hall and the Bitter Zen sect might even lend a helping hand. Even if we join hands with the Zen sect, we might not be able to win. Moreover, the guards we brought with us have been placed elsewhere by the Qing family. If we really fall out with them, I'm afraid we won't be able to protect ourselves. Yun Shujiu blinked her eyes and said, Old ancestor, let's not fight them head-on. Let's try to outsmart them. Outsmart them? How? The Grand Ancestor asked in puzzlement. I think you should take a look at, isn't Qing Haotian still alive? I think he's most likely controlled by Qing Shaoqing. If we can save him, things will be much easier. Although the Qing family is now controlled by Qing Shaoqing, there must still be a direct descendant of Qing Haotian. When the time comes, we will work together from the inside and the outside. It will be much easier to take down the Qing family, Yun Shujiu said with a smile. The ancestor of the Lan family shook his head. You think too simply. Since Qing Haotian is controlled by Qing Shaoqing, there must be many guards. How can we easily save him? Yun Shujiu's smile became brighter. We don't have to look for him ourselves. The opportunity will soon appear in front of us. The ancestor of the Lan family was even more confused. What do you mean? Qing Yuanda wants to marry us, so he will come to you soon. You have to meet him out of courtesy, don't you? When the time comes, leave this matter to him. As the head of the big house, if he can't even meet Qing Haotian, then he is too useless. Yun Shujiu curled her lips and said. This guy thought to himself, Miss Qing Si, I'm sorry. In order not to expose our relationship, I have to let uncle suffer. The reason why Yun Shujiu did not tell the Lan family's patriarch about her relationship with Qing Si was that the Lan family's patriarch was a suspicious person. If he knew that she and Qing Si were old acquaintances, he might cause unnecessary trouble. Before the Lan family's patriarch could speak, there was a commotion outside. One could vaguely hear Qing Yuanda coughing. The ancestor of the Lan family and Elder Tua looked at each other. This troublemaker was really smart. The ancestor of the Lan family did not go out immediately. After a while, he asked Yun Shujiu to go out and deal with it. When Yun Shujiu came out, Qing Yuanda was in a confrontation with the guards. Qing Yuanda's face was red, obviously very angry. But in the past, he could back down, but for his daughter, he would do his best. Uncle, the old ancestor wants you to go in, Yun Shujiu said indifferently. The guards looked at each other and had no choice but to let Qing Yuanda into the courtyard. Qing Yuanda nodded gratefully at Yun Shujiu. Yun Shujiu could not help but feel a little bitter when she saw the slightly fawning look on Qing Yuanda's face. It could be said that this Uncle Qing had done his best for Miss Qing Si. Panda's novel's Comer mission was to prevent them from disturbing the old ancestor and Qing Yuanda conversation. Sure enough, a moment later, Qing Yuankue came over with Qing Jin. Yun Shujiu arrived at the gate of the courtyard with a smile and said, Uncle, Sister Qing Jin, are you here to see me? Qing Yuankue and Qing Jin's faces stiffened slightly. How could they answer such a shameless question? Could it be that they were not here to see her? Qing Yuankue squeezed out a smile and said vaguely, We're here to see if you and the master of the Lan family need anything. Let's go in and talk. Yun Shujiu immediately clapped her hands, giving Qing Yuankue and Qing Jin a fright. Was this stupid girl crazy? That's great. Uncle, I have something to ask of you. Yun Shujiu said excitedly. I think you should take a look at. Although Qing Yuankue wanted to go in immediately, but Yun Shujiu blocked the door of the courtyard. Now that they had not fallen out, he could not force his way in. He could only ask patiently, What is it? Miss Yun, please tell me. I want to visit your warehouse. Yesterday, I only saw a little bit of it, and I was already very shocked. The Qing family of the Valley of Fog really lives up to its reputation. I've never even heard of many spirit weapons. Yun Shujiu said with envy. Qing Jin said with a little bit of pride, Of course. In terms of refining weapons in the Chongshao continent, our Qing family believes that we are second. No one dares to claim the first place. Oh right, didn't that sky-shaking crossbow go crazy last night? It destroyed a lot of spirit weapons, right? I feel sorry for you guys, Yun Shujo said with a sigh. Qing Yuankue and Qing Jin's expressions immediately became a little ugly. This wretched girl had mentioned every single thing. She was really detestable. Qing Yuankue didn't want to continue wasting time here with her. He said, Miss Yun, the warehouse is an important place of our Qing family. It's not convenient for outsiders to visit it. Let's go in and talk. Coincidentally, I have something to discuss with the head of the Lan family. Yun Shujo moved aside and said, All right, let's talk inside. Qing Yuankue could not help but feel puzzled. Could it be that this stinky girl did not deliberately stop them here? If she deliberately stopped them, why did she let them in so easily? Qing Yuankue did not have time to think too much. He hurriedly entered the house, only to see Qing Yuanda come out in a daze. He looked at him as if he wanted to eat him up. Qing Yuankue was secretly happy. It seemed that Qing Yuanda had hit a wall. However, it was also true. If the head of the Lan family had some brains, he would not support the eldest and the second branch to go against each other. After Qing Yuankue entered, he said a few words perfunctorily and then left. Yun Shujo looked at his and Qing Jin's backs and curled the corners of her lips. These two idiots probably did not know that there was a thing called a sound transmission talisman in this world, right? Yun Shujo knew that Qing Yuanda needed some time to think of a solution, so after she greeted her ancestor, she returned to her own courtyard. Goei Batsao had already hidden under the bed, and she was thinking of how to tell Yun Shujo what she knew. It could not speak, and it could not write. It was really a worrisome weed. This fellow could not think of any solution, so he simply gave up. Anyway, she already wanted to use Qing Yuanda to save that miserable old man. It did not matter if she told him or not. As for the secret of the back mountain, it was probably useless to the wretched girl. It did not matter if she told him or not. Hence, Goei Batsao was at ease and nestled under the bed. That evening, Yun Shujo received news from the Lan family's patriarch. Qing Yuanda had thought of a solution. Yun Shujo immediately went to the Lan family's patriarch's courtyard. Qing Yuanda didn't say what he thought of, but he promised that he could see Qing Haotian alone. What are your plans next? Said the Lan family's patriarch. Yun Shujo rolled her eyes. Let's wait for him to see Qing Haotian first. We have to know Qing Haotian's trump card before we can decide on the next step. The Lan family's patriarch also had the same idea. If Qing Haotian didn't have any trump cards, then he had to reconsider whether or not to get involved in this mess. After the discussion, Yun Shujo returned to her own courtyard. As soon as she entered the courtyard, the voice transmission talisman began to tremble. Yun Shujo lowered her head and saw that it was from Di Biming. This fellow was delighted and couldn't wait to send his spiritual sense in. However, before that, she cut off her spiritual sense connection so that Di Biming's words wouldn't be heard by the silly cuties and Guai Chao. After all, she was also a shy girl. Although the silly girls and Guai Chao could read Yun Shujia's thoughts, there was a prerequisite. I think you should take a look at if Yun Shujo cut off her spiritual sense, it would not be able to see what was outside, and it would not be able to read Yun Shujia's thoughts. Little Joe, I forgot to tell you something. Your spiritual beast is that Goei Batsao. After Yun Shujo heard it, she gritted her teeth. No wonder she always met with some inexplicable things. It was all the work of Goei Ba. This cheap grass. It actually learned how to save a small treasury. No wonder it was always better than acting cute to get her to let it out. So it was like this. Goei Batsao under the bed was trembling. Although it did not know what Di Biming said, it had a bad feeling that the fiend was most likely to complain. Yun Shujo temporarily put the matter of Goei Batsao aside and asked, Prince Charming, Qing Si told me that not only did you send people to protect them, but you also gave them a lot of cultivation resources. Why didn't you tell me? Very soon, the voice transmission talisman began to tremble. Di Biming said indifferently, Your matters are my matters. Your family is my family. I do things for my family, do I need to take credit for them? Yun Shujo curled her lips. This tsundere was getting better at talking. The two chatted for a while more, and Yun Shujo put away the voice transmission talisman. She rolled her eyes and resumed the spiritual connection with Guai Chao. Guai Chao was terrified. It felt that it was doomed this time. At this moment, it heard Yun Shujo muttering to herself, "Sigh, I hate people who lie to me the most. If I find out who is lying to me, I will kill him." Upon hearing this, Guai Chao immediately began to tremble. The leaves of the grass were about to shake off. It's over. It's over. This stinky girl must have already known that it had stolen the small treasury. What should it do? Otherwise, it would just refuse to admit it. At worst, it would not sneak out in the future. However, this stinky girl firmly believed in that fiend. Even if it did not admit it, it probably would not be able to do so. Why not confess and ask for leniency? Guai Chao was frightened for a long time, but he did not hear what Yun Shujo continued to say. Instead, he lay on the bed and read his script. Guai Chao thought to himself, could it be that she was not talking about it when she said those words just now? But she was referring to something else? No, if she was talking about someone else, why did she have to talk to herself? And she was speaking so vaguely? Guai Chao's heart was in a mess. It was so conflicted. Yun Shujo glanced at it and sneered in her heart. Go Weiba, let's wait and see. Guai Chao had been scared all night and its leaves were drooping. This kind of inhuman torture was too unbearable. She might as well beg for a quick death. This guy decided to turn himself in. Therefore, when Yun Shujo woke up, she saw a blade of grass kneeling on the ground. When Goei Batsao saw that Yun Shujo had woken up, not only did it greet her with a bough of grass leaves, but it also kowtowed continuously with its grass ears. Yun Shujo was angry and amused at the same time. This cheap grass could bend and stretch. She did not know who it learned from to be so thick-skinned. I think you should take a look at Yun Shujo pretended to be surprised and covered her mouth as she said, Oh my god, Go Weiba, I didn't let you out either. Why did you come out? Goei Batsao cursed in its heart. This stupid girl deliberately teased it. She obviously knew everything, but she pretended to be like this. It was really too hateful. However, the grass was under the eaves and had no choice but to lower its head. It could only fawn and act cutely from the bottom of its heart. Its fawning look was simply unbearable to look at. Yun Shujo looked at Goei Bakao's fawning look and felt that she shouldn't have named it Goei Batsao back then. She should have called it a lackey. She snorted coldly, Good, Goei Batsao, you are quite capable. You actually have the ability to save a small amount of money. Tell me, how should I punish you? However, it was afraid because it knew that this wretched girl in front of it had a dark heart. She would definitely think of a way to torture it. Was it you who caused the sudden seizure of the crossbow? Yun Shujo suddenly asked. Goei Batsao quickly shook its leaves and admitted to it. It was delighted. It had done a meritorious deed. The girl might have spared it because of this matter. However, it never expected that Yun Shujo would point at it and scold, You idiot, do you think you have done a meritorious deed? Goei Batsao was completely dumbfounded. What did she mean? Could it be that she had done something wrong? It's fine if you've angered the heaven-shocking crossbow, but why did you let it destroy so many spiritual artifacts? You're a prodigal. Those spiritual artifacts are all money. Goei Batsao couldn't turn around. These spiritual artifacts belonged to the Qing family, not this wretched girl. Why was she so anxious? However, it quickly reacted. This damned girl was someone who would pluck feathers from a wild goose. If she helped the Qing family's eldest son get rid of the second son, she would definitely ask for some benefits. In a sense, this Qing family's spirit tool also belonged to her. After Goei Batsao reacted, it hurriedly kowtowed and begged for mercy. After all, it didn't have any morals. As long as the damned girl calmed down, it would be fine. Yun Shujo snorted coldly. Don't give me that trick. On the one hand, you're showing me your heart, and on the other hand, you're hiding a small treasury behind my back. You scheming bastard. When this fellow said this, he couldn't help but feel a little stifled. Her silly cuteness was all fame, but in reality, they were useless embroidered pillows. The most hateful thing was that each and every one of them looked silly, but in reality, they were all hiding their narrow-mindedness. It was really annoying. However, when she thought about it carefully, Goei Batsao had helped her a lot, although some of them did not help her much. But at least, it showed that this scheming grass still wanted to contribute. Thinking of this, Yun Shujo said lightly, "Forget it, I won't argue with you about what happened before. But if you continue to play tricks behind my back, I will definitely let you know what it means to be unable to live, unable to die." Goei Batsao quickly compared herself to her, only missing a long tail wagging behind her. Pandus Novelth did not think that Goei Batsao was a well-behaved person. It must have done something else. Goei Batsao felt that this was a good opportunity to take credit, but this fellow only realized after a while that it could not speak. It only felt sad. Just because it could not speak, it had missed so many good opportunities to take credit. Just because it could not speak, it could only watch as an idiot like Buttface forcefully became the number one dumb and cute. Just because it could not speak, it had lost so many opportunities to talk to Xiao Mogu. The last sentence was pure nonsense. It did not think that way. Yun Shujo also remembered that this guy couldn't speak, but she had a good idea. If you can't speak, you can write. Write it, Yun Shujo raised her eyebrows and said. I think you should take a look at Go Weiba, woo woo, it was illiterate. Seeing this, Yun Shujo mocked, Tisk tsk, I forgot, you are an illiterate idiot. How pitiful. Goei Batsao was so angry that it wanted to slap Hei Shinjo away. However, it was just thinking about it. In the beginning, it still wanted to kill Yun Shujo and replace her. But now, it did not dare to, or rather, it did not want to. As for the reason why it did not want to do so, it did not want to think about it. After all, Go Weiba could do whatever it wanted to do. Why would it have so many reasons? Yun Shujo looked at Go Weiba, who was so angry that its leaves were about to fly away, and felt very happy. She rolled her eyes and said, You don't know how to write or draw, right? Draw it for me to see. Goei Batsao was immediately delighted. That's right. It could draw it. Yun Shujo spread a piece of paper on the table. Goei Batsao dipped its leaves in ink and drew a room on the paper. Then, she drew an old man who was trapped in a chain. You drew Qing Haotian? Did you see him? Yun Shujo asked in surprise. Go Weiba proudly shook its leaves. Now that it had mastered the skill of drawing, it could still learn to read in the future. The opportunity for Go Weiba to make a name for itself had finally arrived. Whatever Butt Face, Hun Dun, Curly Hair, or Xiao Hanio were all no match for it. They had to submit to Go Weiba. Ha ha ha. This fellow was really too proud of itself. As it was not a real entity, the ink on the leaves seemed to be floating, but it was supported by spiritual power. With such a show-off, all the ink was thrown onto Yun Shuji's clothes and face. Chapter 5286. Goei Batsao. Yun Shujo squeezed out 2 words from between her teeth. Goei Batsao, you're courting death. Goei Batsao finally fully understood the meaning of the idiom, extreme joy begets sorrow. It was sent flying by Yun Shuji's slap. And that was not all. It was kicked a few more times and scolded dozens of times. Goei Batsao did not have much spiritual energy left, but after this torment, it immediately dissipated. Yun Shujo snorted coldly, What? Are you playing the little treasury trick again? Get out here. The strange grass in her dantian wanted to cry, but no tears came out. This time, it had really dissipated. Where was the little treasury? This was the price of lying. After lying once, no one would believe what she said later. However, this fellow was puzzled. This stupid girl treated lying as food all day long, so how could she still deceive others? Did those people not have brains? In the end, it was because it was not good at lying. Unlike this stupid girl, she was a drama queen. Although this guy was cursing in his heart, he kept acting cute on the surface. The black bead and the great void mirror in his dantian could not bear to look at him. It was really embarrassing to live with such a lackey. Yun Shujo washed her face and changed her clothes. She glared at Guai Chao fiercely and then let it out. Goei Batsao immediately flew to the table. After comparing her feelings, she continued to draw. She drew a person beside the bed, but she did not know how to describe the person as Qing Shaoqing. Fortunately, Yun Shujo guessed, "You drew Qing Shaoqing later?" Guai Chao hurriedly shook its leaves to express its agreement. In its heart, it thought, this stupid girl is really smart. She is simply not a human, but a pervert. Yun Shujo rolled her eyes. Why did Qing Shaoqing go to see Qing Haoyan? Did he threaten him to pass the position of family head to him? Go Weiba shook its leaves to show that she was right. Yun Shujo thought for a moment and said, "Draw the arrangement of the guards outside." Goei Batsao immediately buried its head in drawing and finished drawing after a while. Yun Shujo was already unable to complain about Goei Bakao's drawing skills. Fortunately, she was smarter and could barely see what it was drawing. Goei Batsao saw that Yun Shujo was pondering over the matter and started to think of little Jiao in its heart. It had to think of a way to make the smelly girl be willing to let it out for a walk, or else it would suffocate in its dantian. However, what method could it think of? Before it could think of a way, it heard Yun Shujo say, "Turn into the smallest form, let me see." It did not know what kind of medicine Yun Shujo was selling, but the Goei Batsao still shrunk to the size of a pinky. Yun Shujo cursed in her heart. No wonder she did not find this scheming grass before. If she did not pay special attention, it would indeed be difficult to notice. In the future, she could use it to investigate or pass on information. However, this fellow was a little unreliable and could easily get carried away. It was better to think about it first. However, this scheming grass was very secretive. It was better to calm her down a little so that she would not cause any trouble again. Hence, she said, "Go Weiba, I cannot confiscate your little treasury. I can also let you out from time to time to replenish your little treasury." Goei Batsao felt that she was hallucinating. Why was this wretched girl so kind? There was a conspiracy. There must be a big conspiracy. Yun Shujo saw its trembling appearance and could not help but laugh. She continued, "However, without my permission, you cannot act on your own. Otherwise, I will not forgive you." Although Goei Batsao felt that this matter was like a dream, it still agreed without hesitation. What a joke! It was not a stupid plant, so it naturally would not reject such a good thing. Seeing that Goei Batsao agreed, Yun Shujo did not bother with it anymore. Instead, she sat on the chair and pondered over the matter. Goei Batsao did not dare to move at first. Later, when she saw that Yun Shujo did not seem to have any intention of doing anything to it, it started to let loose. Previously, it was afraid of being discovered by Yun Shujo, so it had always been sneaky. But now, it was different. Goei Batsao had crossed the bright road. Goei Batsao was no longer a black grass without status. This fellow began to jump up and down in the house. It did not even know how to show off. Yun Shujo occasionally glanced at it, feeling puzzled. How was this grass? It was simply a madman. There was no time to stop. After the silly cuties saw this scene through Yun Shujia's spiritual sense, they each had their own thoughts. Among them, two were the most indignant. One was Butt Face, and the other was Buddha's Candle. These two fellows had been fighting openly and secretly, both wanting to fight for the throne of the #1 spiritual pet. Now, a Goei Batsao had appeared. How hateful. Most importantly, this Goei Batsao had a huge advantage over them, and that was that it was not afraid of death. Because it was only a spiritual beast, its main body was in Yunchujius Dantian, so even if they wanted to take care of it, they could not do anything about it. However, it was a man's work. It was still okay to complain about it for no reason. After all, that stupid grass could not speak. Goei Batsao completely did not know that it had become a target for arrows. Of course, even if this fellow knew, he would not take it to heart. What a joke. Once Goei Batsao appeared, who would be able to compete with it? Those idiots could not be compared to it at all. The number one throne was destined to be Goei Bakao's. Putting everything else aside, it had already occupied the smelly girl's Dantian long ago. Who could compete with it? Moreover, the love-hate relationship between it and the smelly girl could already be written in several storybooks. Those idiots still wanted to compete with it? I think you should take a look at if it wasn't for the fact that it couldn't speak, how would they be able to show off? It was really shameless. Not to mention them, even D. Biming, that malignant star, was ranked behind it. It was the first to know this smelly girl. Goei Batsao was showing off for a while. When it saw that Yun Chujio was reading the script, it shamelessly went up to her. Yun Chujia's heart moved. Why not teach it to know more words so that it would not have to communicate with it in the future? Hence, Yun Chujio took out a pen and paper and began to teach Goei Batsao how to read. When Buttface and Buddha's candle saw this, they became even more envious. However, they had no choice but to stare at it. However, they soon rolled around happily. The reason was simple. Although Goei Batsao was very observant, it was really stupid when it came to literacy. Yun Chujio had just taught it, but it had forgotten about it as soon as it turned its head. The words it had written had lost its limbs, and it had almost angered Hei Shinjo to death. After teaching it for 4 hours, Goei Batsao had only learned one word, yes, one. Yun Chujio, Panda's novel, this fellow comforted himself. Grass wasn't perfect. A grass as handsome, powerful, and smart as it was, one flaw was nothing. Learning one word a day, it could learn more than 300 words a year. Take it slow. It is not in a hurry to write love letters. What is the hurry? Anyway, it and Xiao Mogu or baby. When the Goei Batsao thought of Xiao Mogu, its leaves immediately curled up. It was simply spouting nonsense just now, it did not think that way at all. This fellow looked at Yun Chujio guiltily, and then realized that although it could understand Yun Chujio's thoughts, Yun Chujio could not pry into its thoughts. It immediately had a sense of superiority. TSK, no matter how perverted this girl was, she could not do anything to it. Although Yun Chujio could not read the thoughts of the Guai Chao, she could still feel its emotions and felt that it was very smug. It was funny in her heart. Where did a lousy Guai Chao get the courage to be smug? The next morning, the ancestor of the Lan family called Yun Chujio over. Qing Yuenda has sent news that he has already met Qing Haotian, said the patriarch of the Lan family. What's the situation? Does Qing Haotian still have a trump card? Yun Chujio asked hurriedly. He does have one, but it's very limited. There are only 100 elite guards. It was estimated that Qing Haotian had not let those people make any moves for a long time. Firstly, Qing Shaoqing had threatened the lives of the people from the big house. Secondly, there were too few people, so Qing Haotian did not dare to act rashly. Indeed, more than 100 people were not enough. The Qing residents had 400 to 500 guards on the surface, so there was no chance of winning. Since the second branch of the Qing family is not going to attack us for the time being, why don't we leave? The ancestor of the Lan family said with a sigh. Yun Chujio naturally did not want to leave. If nothing else, she could not ignore Qing Sis' life and death. She blinked her eyes and said, Ancestor, although more than 100 people are indeed a little small, didn't we bring a few hundred people? Moreover, your cultivation is much stronger than Qing Shaocheng's. As long as you take him down and Qing Haotian appears, the subordinates of the second branch will abandon the dark side and join the light. The old ancestor of the Lan family was actually very conflicted. If Qing Shaoqing completely took control of the Qing family, it would not be good news for the Lan family. I think you should take a look at. He pondered for a moment and asked, "Do you have any good ideas?" Yun Shuzhou did not say anything but laughed. The ancestor of the Lan family and elder Tuo saw her sinister smile and could not help but shiver. This troublemaker was going to play dirty again. Let's create a diversion and fish in troubled waters. Tonight, I will think of a way to set a few fires in the Qing mansion and let Qing Yuanda bring more than 100 elites to save Qing Haotian. When the time comes, Qing Shaoqing will definitely lead his men to stop them. We'll send a mantis to catch the cicada and a oriole to catch the oriole behind. You and old Tuo will work together to take down Qing Shaoqing. As long as we take down Qing Shaoqing, the rest of the matter will be much easier to handle, Yun Shuzhou said with a smile. What you said is also feasible. However, Qing Mansion is heavily guarded. I'm afraid it won't be easy to set a fire right under their noses, the old ancestor said with a frown. Seeing that she had a plan in mind, the Lan family's old ancestor agreed to her plan. The three of them discussed the details before Yun Shuzhou returned to her courtyard. She rested up and waited for night to come. When night fell, Yun Shuzhou released a small flame. For a small flame, setting a few fires was simply too easy. Yun Shuzhou told the small flame to set a fire at a place that was quite far away. Moreover, they were very scattered. This way, the guards of the Qing residence would be scattered and it would be easier to carry out their tasks. Soon, the Qing mansion was in chaos. In the darkness of the night, many flames soared into the sky. Qing Shaoqing was shocked and angry. He quickly sent people to put out the fire. However, he soon realized that something was wrong. He immediately rushed to the Qing Feng garden where Qing Haotian was imprisoned without caring about anything else. The three ancestors of the Lan family followed them from afar. At this time, the Qing mansion was in chaos, so no one stopped them. When Qing Shaoqing arrived at Qing Feng garden, Qing Yuanda and his men had already started fighting with the guards. When Qing Shaoqing saw that the leader was Qing Yuanda and there was no one else, he immediately felt relieved. A mere Qing Yuanda could not stir up a storm at all. He shouted coldly, "Stop! Yuanda, are you crazy? Do you not care about the life and death of the entire house? Moreover, with just a few people like you, do you think you can contend with me?" Qing Yuanda naturally would not listen to him. Today, he had already given up everything. He only had one chance. If he did not succeed, he would die. A cold smile appeared on Qing Shaoqing's face. He was about to step forward and take down Qing Yuanda, but he felt a murderous aura coming from behind him. He subconsciously dodged to the side. He did not expect that for some reason, his feet would go soft. He actually tripped himself and became a dog gnawing mud. Therefore, the Lan family's ancestor and elder Tuo did not expend any effort to control Qing Shaoqing. Both of them were a little dumbfounded. Although their cultivation was much higher than Qing Shaoqing's, wasn't this too easy? Not to mention other things, Qing Shaoqing must have many good life-saving things on him, but he did not activate any of them. How would they know that Qing Shaoqing was caught off guard and fell? For a moment, he did not care about activating the spiritual weapon, and was caught just like that. As for the reason why Qing Shaoqing fell, it was naturally the curse of the Xiao Hanio. I think you should take a look at the Xiao Hanio glanced at Butt-Face and Hun Dun, who was wearing a green sweater, with a hint of pride. It didn't want to participate in the usual jealousy. Pandas novel. Come, not to mention other things, its curse skill was the little girl's life-saving trump card. At any time, the little girl wouldn't treat it unfairly. It disdained to participate in those childish pet fighting games. Sitting on the mountain and watching the tiger fight was where its fun lay. Once Qing Shaoqing was captured, the situation completely changed. Qing Yuanda said loudly, "The culprit is now under control." Seeing that you are only bewitched by Qing Shaoqing, as long as you stop now and let bygones be bygones, or else we will kill without mercy. Although Qing Yuanda was a generation younger than Qing Shaoqing, he was still the head of the big house. Qing Haotian did not expect to see the light of day again. He could not help but cry. However, he was the leader of the Qing family after all. After a short sigh, he regained his calm. He bowed to the Lan family's patriarch with great difficulty. Senior Lan, I will thank you after I clean up the Qing family's mess. The Lan family's patriarch nodded. No worries. At this moment, Qing Yuankui arrived with his men. When he saw that Qing Shaoqing had been captured, his face turned pale with fright. Qing Haotian shouted angrily, "Evil creature! Hurry up and surrender." Qing Shaoqing was the backbone of the second branch. Now that he had been captured, Qing Yuankui had no idea what to do. He didn't know what to do at the moment. He weighed his options and knelt on the ground. Grandfather, I was forced by my father. I don't want to do this either. This was all father's idea. Please spare me. Qing Shaoqing almost spat out a mouthful of blood. Was this retribution? He had imprisoned his father, but now he was abandoned by his own son. This was really retribution. Qing Haotian did not say much. Instead, he had people control Qing Yuankui. Once Qing Shaoqing and Qing Yuankui were captured, things became much easier. Before dawn, Qing Haotian had already regained control of the Qing family. Whether it was Qing Haotian or Qing Yuanda, they all felt that this was like a dream. How could it be so easy? In the end, first of all, Qing Shaoqing had underestimated the enemy. He did not expect that the ancestor of the Lan family would actually help the chief branch. The most important thing now was to interrogate Qing Shaoqing and his son. At the very least, they had to make him hand over the antidote of the eldest branch's people. I think you should take a look at Qing Shaoqing sneered, I admit defeat. However, don't even think about the antidote. I can't get better, and neither can you. Qing Haotian was so angry that he wanted to slap him to death. In the end, it was Qing Yuankui who confessed that the bitter Zen sect gave them the poison. They only had pills to temporarily control the pain and did not have the antidote. Qing Haotian looked at Defang, who was so stupid and disabled that even Qing Yuanda would cough from time to time. He could not help but burst into tears. This was the fate of the Qing family. For a moment, the Qing family was once again in a miserable state. Yun Shuzhou felt that it was time for her to make a move. Therefore, this guy, tactfully, said to Qing Haotian, Senior Qing, I can try to detoxify them, but the antidote is very expensive, and it takes a lot of time and effort to refine. If it's not done well, I might even have to bear the risk of exploding the furnace. Qing Haotian immediately understood what she meant. Was this little girl negotiating conditions? He immediately agreed. As long as Yun Shuzhou could detoxify the people of the main branch, any conditions would be met. Yun Shuzhou fulfilled her wish and immediately went to the main branch. This guy had the Guai Chao in his hand. Although there were some communication difficulties, he still spent a few days to prepare the antidote. Gowei Batsao had made another contribution. He did not know how to show off. But Face and Buddha's candle were so angry that they were even more jealous of this guy. Qing Haotian fulfilled his promise. Not only did he sell a batch of spiritual artifacts to the Lan family at an extremely favorable price, but he also gave Yun Shuzhou 3 top-tier flying spiritual artifacts and several defensive spiritual artifacts. After the Qing family's matter was settled, the Lan family's ancestor did not plan to stay any longer. After all, he had been out for some time, so he bid his farewell. Qing Haotian tried his best to persuade her to stay, but seeing that the ancestor of the Lan family had made up his mind, he had no choice but to agree. Before she left, Qing Si came to see Yun Shuzhou. Little Jiu, thank you for what happened this time. Qing Si said and was about to kneel down. Miss Qing Si, what are you doing? We are sisters, there's no need to talk about this. By the way, how did Master Qing punish the second branch? Yun Shujiu quickly supported her and changed the topic. Qing Shaoqing and Qing Yuankui were crippled by their great-grandfather and imprisoned. The rest were expelled from the ancestral house after being tortured and demoted to a branch. Yun Shujiu shook her head in her heart. This Qing Haotian was too merciful. The old fox's way of doing things was more suitable for controlling a large family. Just as she was thinking about it, she realized that Qing Si wanted to say something, but she hesitated. Miss Qing Si, what do you want to say? Yun Shujiu asked in confusion. Qing Si gritted her teeth and said, I think that if we don't get rid of the weeds, there will be trouble in the future, so I plan to kill Qing Shaoqing and Qing Yuankui behind my great-grandfather's back. As for the other people in the second branch, they are nothing to be afraid of, but we have to send people to monitor them at all times. Yun Shujiu's eyes lit up. Oh my, Miss Qing Si has turned dark. However, this was also good. Otherwise, she would be at a disadvantage. Pandas Novel's Kami and Shujiu shook her head repeatedly. No, you did the right thing. This is how it should be. Being merciful to the enemy is cruel to yourself. Qing Si smiled in relief. Both her great-grandfather and father were too kind, so she should be the villain. I think you should take a look at the two chatted for a while, and Yun Shujiu suddenly remembered something and said, Miss Qing Si, since Xian Ji knows about your physique, he probably won't let it go. You must be careful. Qing Si nodded. Father also thought of this. From now on, the Qing family of the Valley of Fog will strengthen our guards, and we won't easily see outsiders. Hearing this, Yun Shujiu felt relieved and left. The ancestor of the Lan family was in a good mood. Although the Qing family of the Valley of Fog would not openly fall out with the other three families in the future, they would definitely control the spiritual artifacts sold to them. In this way, the Lan family would have an advantage. The three of them brought their subordinates out of the Valley of Fog and met with a master lay of the Zen sect. The ancestor of the Lan family recounted what had happened and handed over the gift of thanks that Qing Haotian had entrusted to him to the Zen sect to Master Lei. Master Lei put his palms together and said, Amitabha. I didn't expect that Xian Ji, as a monk, would have such lewd and evil thoughts. It's really disgraceful. Yun Shujiu rolled her eyes and said, Master Lei, the bitter Zen sect will be a disaster sooner or later. Why don't we take the initiative to destroy them? Otherwise, they might cause some trouble again. We need to plan this matter carefully. I will report it to the sect master when I go back, said Master Lei. By the way, Qing Si's physique is easy to cause trouble, so please don't let too many people know about this, Yun Shujiu pleaded. After Master Lei nodded and agreed, the two sides separated. The Guai Chao and Yun Shujiu's Dantian suddenly remembered something. It was the thing that Qing Shaoqing used to threaten Qing Haotian at the back of the mountain, but she forgot to tell the stupid girl about it. Therefore, Goei Batsao found an opportunity to draw a picture. Hei Xinjiu took a long time to figure out what it meant. She did not take it to heart. Since it was a secret of the Qing family, she should not get involved. The journey was smooth. However, the closer they got to the imperial city, the darker the sky became and the faint sound of thunder could be heard. Hei Xinjiu immediately jumped up from her chair and looked into the distance through the observation window. She saw lightning and thunder in the distance. Judging from the direction, it was Mount Meru. This fellow was immediately enraged. All right. Damn Wu Yun. She actually wanted to take advantage of her absence to secretly strike lightning. She was really courting death. She immediately said to the Lan family's patriarch, I won't be returning to the imperial city with you for now. I'll make a trip to Mount Meru. The Lan family's patriarch knew that this fellow wanted to absorb lightning, so he did not stop her. He only gave her a few words of advice. It was nothing more than to pay attention to Yun's safety. Yun Shujo quickly agreed. Then, she got off the flying spirit tool and sat on the chopping board as she headed straight for Mount Meru. This fellow was burning with anxiety. If she was too late, she would not be able to withstand the strike. The dark clouds floating above Mount Meru saw Yun Shujo from afar and trembled in fear. Oh no! The wretched girl who wanted to fish for the Yun wings was here. It could not be bothered to continue attacking Mount Meru and ran away. Yun Shujo was furious. She pulled her neck and shouted, "Hey, wait a minute. Chop me a few times before you run away." Wu Yun did not dare to stop. What kind of joke was this? Nothing that this brat said was true. It would only stop if it was stupid. Seeing that Wu Yun was about to run away, Yun Shujo was so anxious that her forehead was covered in sweat. In a moment of desperation, she shouted, "Wait. As long as you chop me a few times, I will return you a cloud wing. I promise to keep my word. If I lie, I will be struck by lightning and die a horrible death." Hearing that, Wu Yun ran even faster. Struck by lightning? You fucking want to be struck by lightning. I think you should take a look at so what you said must be a lie. Yun Shujo also realized that her oath seemed to be somewhat inappropriate, mainly because she was used to saying it. She hurriedly shouted, "If I lie to you, let me drown in the water and burn to death." Wu Yun paused. Could it be that what the brat said this time was true? When Yun Shujo saw that it had stopped, her heart immediately rejoiced. She said, "I didn't lie to you. Think about it. There's no use for me to have Yun wings. Why don't I exchange them for a few bolts of lightning? Moreover, you can strike from a distance away from me. That way, you won't be afraid that I'll cheat you, right?" Wu Yun was a little tempted. Previously, Yun Shujo had hooked a cloud wing away from it. If she could get it back, it would naturally be good. Besides, she was right. As long as he was far away, there would be no danger. Therefore, Wu Yun flew back. Yun Shujo quickly landed on the ground. She smiled like a playboy who was trying to trick a little girl. "Come on, little boy. Chop me. Chop me to your heart's content." Wu Yun shivered in disgust at the word little boy. He hacked at Hei Shinjo with all the remaining power of lightning. Hei Shinjo did not expect Wu Yun to do that. When she saw the thick lightning, she wanted to dodge it. However, the lightning did not come easily. If she managed to dodge it, she did not know when she would be struck again. Therefore, she made up her mind and was struck by the lightning without dodging. After a loud explosion, a deep pit with black smoke appeared on the ground. Wu Yun in the sky was waiting happily for Yun Shujo to return the cloud wings to it. However, after waiting for a while, Yun Shujo still did not climb out of the pit. It could not help but feel happy. Could it be that it had accidentally killed that stupid girl? Wu Yun waited for a while more. When he saw that there was still no movement in the pit, he could not care about Yuni anymore. He hopped away happily. Haha. Pandas novel Come had struck Wu Yun's nemesis, the killer of heavenly thunder, that scourged to death. In the deep pit, Yun Shujo was lying quietly. Her body was covered in scorched soil. Her hair and eyebrows had turned into ashes. Her clothes had also turned into ashes. Fortunately, there was still soil covering her body. Otherwise, she would have been completely exposed. If someone else saw it, they would definitely think that there was a dead person lying in the pit because she was not breathing at all. Of course, nobody would have seen Hei Xinjia floating on top of her. Hei Shinjo was dumbfounded. Why was she struck so hard that her soul left her body? Did she die just like that? She comforted herself that she might have gone into shock because she was struck too hard just now. She would probably recover soon. However, from dusk until nightfall, and from nightfall until the sun rose slowly, her body still showed no signs of waking up. Pandas novel. Kamhei Shinjo wanted to cry, but no tears came out. If she had known this would happen, she would have rather wasted that heavenly thunder. At least, it would not have turned out like this. It was really not worth it. However, it was useless to regret. Things had already happened. Just as this fellow was feeling vexed, she heard the sound of chaotic footsteps from afar. Her heart tightened. The Lawn family must have found her. She was not wearing any clothes now. If she was seen, it would be terrible. In a moment of desperation, she tried to communicate with Guai Chao. Needless to say, she had established a connection with Guai Chao. Yun Shujo was puzzled. Why could she establish a connection with Guai Chao even though she could not communicate with other dumb cuties? This question flashed across her mind. Now was not the time to think about it. She quickly let Guai Chao take over her body and let it bury her in the soil. Go Weiba, ask someone to throw you a set of clothes and put them on later. I think you should take a look at him warning you, put on your clothes with your eyes closed, or he'll kill you. Yun Shujo warned. Go-Wei Batsao obediently agreed, but in its heart, it cursed, "Pah. You become a drifter, and you still dare to threaten me? If I'm unhappy, it'll make you run for your life." Of course, this fellow was only thinking about it, he didn't dare. The people who came were not only the guards of the Lan family, but also Yun Chujia's own guards. The reason was very simple. Leng Yun had been paying attention to the movements of the Lan family. When he heard that Yun Shujo hadn't returned all night, he quickly rushed over with his men. Go Weiba followed Yun Shujia's instructions and shouted at the top of his lungs, "Leng Yun, throw me a set of clean clothes, all of you stay away." Leng Yun, did his master forget that there was a storage ring? Or was there no clothes in his master's storage ring? Go-Wei Batsao closed his eyes and put the clothes that Leng Yun threw on his body. Although Leng Yun had many questions in his heart, he did not dare to ask too much. He said, "Miss, are we returning to the city now? Are you stupid? If not, where are we going?" Go-Wei Batsao curled his lips and said. Leng Yun choked on his words and hurriedly said, "Yes, this subordinate is slow. Miss, please." Go-Wei Batsao snorted and then moved forward, and jumped. Everyone looked at Yun Shujo, who was desperately swinging her arms and jumping forward. They were all dumbfounded. Was her brain damaged by the lightning? Yun Shujo was so angry that she was about to puke. Go Weiba. You idiot. You are a human now, not a grass. You better walk properly. Go Weiba did not expect Yun Shujo to suddenly make a sound. It was frightened by her and fell to the ground with a thud. Yun Shujo felt that she had most likely never been so embarrassed in her life. This Go Weiba was really a piece of shit. Go Wei Batsao sensed her thoughts and cursed in its heart, "Pah. You are the shit. Your whole family is a piece of shit." Go Weiba was a world-shaking hero, not some piece of shit. In order to take revenge on Hei Shinjo, this guy deliberately tripped his left leg and right leg when he got up and fell again. Yun Shujo was so angry that she wished she could strangle Go Wei Batsao to death. She said coldly, "Go Wei Batsao, if you continue to act like a demon, you will never see Xiao Mogu again." Go Wei Batsao immediately cowered, and a fawning expression appeared on her face. Yun Shujo saw the fawning expression on her face and felt extremely stifled. "All right, pretend to faint now. Don't embarrass yourself here," Yun Shujo said to Go Wei Batsao. Go Wei Batsao had no choice but to unwillingly fall to the ground and pretend to faint. Leng Yun was shocked and hurriedly used the soft couch to carry Yun Shujo as they ran towards the imperial city. I think you should take a look at Go Wei Batsao lay on the soft couch and secretly opened its eyes to look at the scenery from time to time. This fellow felt that possessing the smelly girl's body was not bad. At the very least, it could eat a lot of medicinal herbs and jump around. It was just that it could not use the smelly girl's spiritual power. Otherwise, it could release Xiao Mogu to cultivate its feelings. Yun Shujiu looked at the shifty-eyed herself and felt the malicious intent of the heavens. What did she do wrong to suffer such inhuman torture? However, no matter what, she had to be thankful for the Gui Chao. Otherwise, she would have to run away. Moreover, if she remained unconscious, the old fox of the Lan family's ancestor might give up on her and use her to exchange for benefits with the divine devil Hull. It was not that she thought too badly of people, but that sometimes human nature could not stand the test. Although Gowei Batsao was a little out of place, as long as she stayed in her room, there should not be any problems for a short period of time. Perhaps, she could return to her body in a few days. At this moment, Leng Yun, who was carrying the limp body, felt a little complicated. He was not blind, so he naturally saw Yun Shujiu opening her eyes from time to look around. He thought to himself, it seemed that her master's brain had really been struck by lightning. Otherwise, why would he act so strangely? He looked like a fool. Pandas novel. Come after everyone entered the imperial city, Go Weiba could not stay idle anymore. It had always wanted to stroll around the market, and finally, it had an opportunity. It could not miss this good opportunity. Perhaps that stinky girl would quickly return to normal, and when that time came, it would not have a chance. Thus, Leng Yun watched helplessly as his master rolled from the soft couch to the ground. Then, he got up, swung his arms, and jumped into the medicinal herb shop next to him. As it was early in the morning, there were only a few customers in the herb shop. Pandas novels commencent this Miss Yun? How did she become bald? It was one thing for her to become bald, but why was her face covered in mud? And why was she wearing her clothes inside out? What surprised them the most was that Miss Yun's walking posture was so strange. Why did she swing her arms so hard? Hei Xinjiu, who was floating behind Gowei Batsao, was so angry that she was about to explode. This damn Gowei Batsao. However, no matter how she cursed, Gowei Batsao seemed to not hear her. It jumped in front of the shopkeeper and said, I want all herbs above the earth grade. Although the shopkeeper felt that Yun Shujiu was a little strange, he didn't have any reason to push the sale out of the door. He immediately smiled apologetically and said, I'll put it away for you right away. After a while, the shopkeeper took out a storage ring and handed it to Gowei Batsao. Miss Yun, the herbs you want are all inside. I'll wipe the change for you. It's a total of 50 million upper-grade spirit stones. Gowei Batsao suddenly remembered that it had to pay for the items, but it couldn't open Yun Shujiu's storage ring. What should it do? This guy looked at Leng Yun. What are you waiting for? Pay. Leng Yun, he was only a small team leader, how could he have so much money? However, seeing that Gowei Batsao didn't look like he was joking, he had no choice but to force his men to gather the money. It wasn't easy for him to gather 50 million upper-grade spirit stones. Everyone felt aggrieved. Well, they did not receive a month's salary, but they had put all their wealth into it. I think you should take a look at Leng Yun even suspected that his master was deliberately pretending to be crazy to plunder their wealth. Gowei Batsao held the storage ring and said happily, let's go back to the mansion. Leng Yun saw that it was holding the storage ring with its hand but did not put it into his own storage ring. He could not help but feel even more puzzled. He forced himself to ask, Miss, why don't you put these herbs into your storage ring? Yun Shujiu, who was floating behind them, deliberately did not say anything. She wanted to see how Go Weiba would answer. Sigh. I was struck by lightning, so I can't use my spiritual power for the time being. It will be fine in a few days. Gowei Batsao sighed. Yun Shujiu, damn it, this scheming grass was getting more and more sophisticated. Leng Yun heard this and suddenly realized. No wonder his master was so strange. So that was it. Gowei Batsao originally wanted to walk around on the street, but it was in a hurry to go back and eat those herbs, so it lay back on the soft bed and was carried back to the Lan family's third house. Hong Ling and the other two were shocked and they saw Goei Batsao. How did my miss become like this? After Lang Yun and the others left, Goei Batsao pointed at Hong Ling, "Come in with me." Hong Ling felt that the way her lady spoke was different from usual. However, she did not think too much about it and followed Goei Batsao into the house. "Take out the medicinal herbs in this ring," Goei Batsao said anxiously. Hong Ling was stunned. Why did she have to take them out? Why didn't lady take them out herself? However, she did not dare to say anything. However, when she saw the number of medicinal herbs in the storage ring, she asked uncertainly, "Lady, take out all the medicinal herbs in this ring?" Goei Batsao nodded. "Take them out." What a joke. If he didn't take them out, how could he eat them? Chapter 52-96 The baby doesn't want to talk to you. Hong Ling braced herself and took out all the medicinal herbs in her storage ring. She stuffed Yun Shujia's house full, leaving only the bed and a narrow corridor without any medicinal herbs. Goei Batsao was so happy that it was about to bloom. That smelly girl never let it eat its fill. Now, it could finally eat enough. As expected, it was better to beg others than to beg oneself. It was better to do it yourself in order to have enough food and clothing. Hong Ling saw the fervent gaze of Goei Batsao and was even more puzzled. Why did it become so strange for her miss to go out? She saw the mud on Yun Shujia's face and the man's clothes that were full of dust and said, "Miss, I will prepare a bath for you. Would you like to take a bath?" Go Weiba waved his hands repeatedly. No, this is good." Hong Ling, are you sure this is good? Her face was dirty, her clothes were dirty, and she was wearing them inside out. How was it good? Although Hong Ling did not agree, she did not dare to say too much. She turned around and closed the door. Goei Batsao saw that Hong Ling had gone out, grabbed a handful of herbs and stuffed them into her mouth. She felt like she was living like a god. Yun Shujio looked at Goei Batsao who was gobbling down the herbs and was so angry that she was twitching. She scolded, "Goei Batsao, you imbecile. Just you wait." Goei Batsao originally did not want to bother with Yun Shujio, but thinking about it, it was not easy for it to use her body to speak, so why not vent its anger? So, after swallowing a handful of herbs, it said, "HMPH. Do you know how much help I have secretly helped you? Let's not talk about the distant ones, let's talk about the near ones. In the 10,000-year-old swamp, if it was not for me, would those blue demonic insects have obediently let you go? Also, during the 10,000 Buddha Dharma assembly, if it weren't for my help, why would Yuan Ji shoot himself to death for no reason? You only know how to scold me all day long. What did I do wrong?" Yun Shujio looked at its confident manner and was amused. "Go Weiba, that's good. You're very wronged, aren't you?" Go Weiba snorted, "Of course, I'm so wronged." Yun Shujio sneered, "Since you're arguing with me, then I'll talk to you properly. Let's put other things aside. What do you say if you come and occupy my dantian uninvited?" Goei Batsao blinked guiltily, "I still want to eat grass. I don't want to talk to you." Yun Shujio saw that it looked like a dead pig that was not afraid of boiling water, so she was too lazy to talk nonsense with it. She wondered what was going on. She had encountered similar situations twice before. One time, it was because Go Weiba had forcefully taken over her body, and the other time, it was under the ghost city in the desert of death. However, this time was obviously different from the previous two times. This time, it was definitely not Go Weiba doing, and it was not caused by the environment. Moreover, in the past, she had been struck by lightning until she was half dead. At most, her tendons and veins were torn apart. There had never been such a situation where her soul had left her body. Yun Shujio suddenly had a thought. No, there was another similar situation. When she entered the ghost realm, her body was left in a secret room while her primordial spirit followed the murderous aura into the ghost realm. Could it be that the incident this time was related to the murderous aura? Speaking of which, the murderous aura had not moved for a long time. Could it be that it was going to play some tricks again? Yun Shujo told Go-Wei Batsao her guess, not because she trusted it, but because she could only tell it now. Go-Wei Batsao was busy eating the herbs and said absent-mindedly, "Anyway, those drifters won't harm you." "What are you afraid of? How do you know they won't harm me?" Yun Shujo raised her eyebrows and asked. Go-Wei Batsao choked and said, "If they wanted to harm you, they would have done it long ago. Why would they wait until now?" Although Go-Wei Batsao spoke as if it was serious, Yun Shujo felt that it was not telling the truth. Only then did she realize that although this scheming grass had long been in her dantian, up until now, she still did not know what it was. Demonic plant? She had never heard of anyone who could separate a spiritual beast from a demonic plant. Spiritual beast? And no one had ever heard of a spiritual beast being able to grow in its dantian. Moreover, she felt that although this fellow was a bad student, he seemed to know quite a lot of things. What exactly was this thing? Yun Shujo thought of this and asked, "Go-Wei Ba, tell me the truth. What exactly are you?" Go-Wei Batsao swallowed the herb in its mouth and said confidently, "I'm not a thing." "Yun Shujo, you are indeed not a thing. You damn dog tail. Go-Wei Ba." Go-Wei Batsao did not know what it had said wrong and continued to stuff the herbs in its mouth. Yun Shujo cursed a few times before saying, "What I mean is, you are a spirit plant, right? Then what kind of spirit plant are you? Why haven't I read about you in the ancient books?" When Go-Wei Batsao heard this, it immediately straightened its back and said, "This baby is the world's most powerful grass, Go-Wei Batsao. This damn scheming grass." It was as if she didn't say anything. "I think you should take a look at." She rolled her eyes. She didn't believe that she couldn't beat a grass. Hence, she curled her lips and said, "I know. It must be because your species is very low, so you're too embarrassed to say it." Go-Wei Batsao was immediately unhappy. Who was calling low? You are the low one. You and D Biming are a pair of bitches. Of course, this fellow still had a trace of rationality and did not say it out loud. It curled its lips and said, "You don't have to trick the baby. In short, you should treat me better in the future and not suffer any losses. Otherwise, HMPH. Yun Shujo rolled her eyes and sighed. "Sigh, Go-Wei Ba, you're being a little heartless when you say that. Am I not treating you well? When I met the poison that you like, which time did I not help you drink it? When I met the medicinal herbs and pills that you like, which time did I not feed it to you? Even when you secretly saved up money, didn't I not punish you? Most importantly, you occupied my dantian. How do you expect me to treat you well?" Go-Wei Batsao immediately felt a little guilty. After thinking about it carefully, other than scolding it for no reason, this stinky girl seemed to treat it quite well. All right. You barely treat me well. But don't worry. In the future, all of this will pay off. You being chosen by me, Go-Wei Batsao, is a great honor for you." Go-Wei Batsao said smugly. Yun Shujo cursed in her heart. Bah! Shameless. A great honor? It would be a great trouble. Yun Shujo knew that she couldn't get Go-Wei Bakao's identity. She changed the topic and asked, "Oh right, where did you take Dehua?" Go-Wei Batsao said innocently, "How would I know where that idiot went? It is your spiritual beast, not mine." Yun Shujo frowned. Although Go-Wei Batsao said it confidently, she somehow felt that Dehua's disappearance was related to it. Go-Wei Batsao secretly heaved a sigh of relief when it saw that Yun Shujo was silent. It continued to eat the herbs. Speaking of which, it had been a long time since it had eaten so freely. It felt so good. Go-Wei Batsao thought about it. Although it did not need to eat, its body still needed to eat. Otherwise, if it starved to death, it would have no place to live. Thus, it lazily said, "Come in." Hong Ling entered the house and couldn't help but be stunned. Because the originally full medicinal herbs were already less than half gone. What was going on? However, Hong Ling knew her identity, so she didn't ask what she shouldn't ask. Therefore, she didn't say anything and instead placed the food on the table. Yun Shuzhou said to Goei Batsao, "Tell Hong Ling to prepare a bath water and clean clothes. Ask her to help you bathe. When the time comes, go back to your dantian and wait for the bath before you possess your body." Goei Batsao agreed and pursed her lips in her heart. Bah! Even if you let the baby see it, the baby would not even bother to look at it. It was so ugly. It could not even be compared to Xiao Mogus mycelium. Hong Ling was stunned when she heard Goei Bakao's instructions. This was because Yun Shuzhou usually did not need them to help her take a bath. However, since her master had instructed her, she could only do as she was told. Thus, after Goei Batsao finished eating, Hong Ling began to help her take a bath. In order to avoid Hong Ling's suspicion, Yun Shuzhou let Goei Batsao say, "I'll take a nap for a while. Help me wash up, then help me change my clothes. After that, just put me on the bed." After Hong Ling nodded and agreed, Goei Batsao retracted back into her dantian and allowed Hong Ling to manipulate Yun Shuzhou's body. I think you should take a look at. Although Hong Ling was very puzzled, she still helped Yun Shuzhou to bathe, changed into clean clothes, and then put her on the bed. During this time, she felt that her miss did not breathe at all and was so scared that her face was pale. However, she knew that her miss was a pervert and had many secrets. Therefore, although she was shocked, she did not dare to ask anything. Yun Shuzhou watched Hong Ling leave and nodded. This Hong Ling was not bad. If there was a chance, she could help her increase her strength. After a while, Goei Batsao felt that it should be done washing. It could not wait to possess her body again and began to eat the herbs. Yun Shuzhou could not be bothered with it. Just as she was thinking about the matter, Hong Ling knocked on the door again and said carefully, "Miss, housekeeper Su from the ancestral residence is here. He said that the ancestor invited you over." Hong Ling knew that her miss was angry when she woke up, so she was so careful. Yun Shuzhou's heart tightened. What should come will come. She had to think of a way to fool the old fox. "Tell housekeeper Su that I'll be there soon." After Hong Ling left, Yun Shuzhou said to Goei Batsao, "The old fox is very cunning. You have to do exactly as I told you. Otherwise, I won't be able to recover, and neither will you." Although Goei Batsao was mischievous, it also knew the severity of the situation. It immediately nodded and said, "Don't worry. Although I can't compare to you in acting, I can still put on an act." Yun Shuzhou immediately instructed Go Weiba, then, she said, "Everything else is fine. The main thing is the way you walk. Remember, you're a human now, not a grass. Don't throw your arms out for no reason. Those aren't your grass leaves." Goei Batsao agreed and pursed his lips in his heart. Humans were so pitiful. They only had 2 arms and 2 legs. The grass was still more powerful. They could have as many leaves as they wanted. Goei Batsao waited for Yun Shuzhou to finish her instructions before pushing the door open and leaving the house. "Hong Ling, prepare the soft couch and send me to the ancestral residence," Goei Batsao instructed. Hong Ling immediately sent someone to prepare the soft couch. The soft couch was carried outside the Lan family's ancestral residence. Goei Batsao then rolled down the soft couch. Goei Batsao realized that it had made a mistake. It revealed an embarrassed but polite smile and said, "Sigh, my body is too weak. I accidentally fell down. Hong Ling, why didn't you help me just now?" Hong Ling, "Hey Shinjo." After saying that, Goei Batsao imitated Yun Shuzhou's usual way of walking and walked into the courtyard. Although it felt very awkward, it had to bear with it in order not to expose itself. Hong Ling looked at her young Miss back view and had an illusion in her heart. Her young Miss legs were newly grown, right? Otherwise, why did she feel that her walking posture was so stiff? It did not seem as natural as before when she swung her arm and walked away. Yun Shujio simply could not bear to look at it. She could only follow and drift into the Lan family's ancestors' study. Pandas novel. Calm Yun Shujio looked at her flattering manner and could not help but shiver. Was she usually this cheap? The Lan family ancestor shook his head speechlessly and pointed to the chair beside him. Sit. I think you should take a look at Go-Wei Batsao subconsciously shook his right arm. After hearing Yun Shujio's cough, he touched his bald ladle stiffly and laughed dryly before sitting on the chair. The Lan family's ancestor did not suspect anything. He thought that she was a little embarrassed because her hair had been chopped off. Go-Wei Batsao recalled Yun Shujio's previous instructions and quickly said, Ancestor, I was struck a little severely this time. My spiritual power has been temporarily sealed, and my body is very weak. I think I need to rest for a few days. The Lan family's ancestor's spy had already reported Yun Shujio's actions to him. After hearing Yun Shujio's words, he did not suspect anything. Because he thought that the reason Go-Wei Batsao bought so many medicinal herbs was probably to refine medicinal pills to treat his injuries. He asked a few questions with concern and then said, although the Qing family's matter has come to an end temporarily, I have a premonition that a storm is coming. I'm afraid that the other three families, the Bitter Zen sect, and the Divine Devil Hall will attack again soon. Go-Wei Ba followed Yun Shujio's instructions and said, Ancestor, you don't have to worry too much. We still have the Zen sect behind us. Even if we really meet them, we are not afraid of them. The ancestor nodded and the two chatted for a while. Then, the ancestor said, since you are not well, you should go back early. Nothing is more important than getting well. Go-Wei Batsao did not want to put on an act anymore. When she heard that, she jumped up from the chair, swung her arms, and jumped out of the house. Yun Shujio was so angry that her nose almost went crooked. However, there was nothing she could do. Fortunately, most people would not think that there was a new core in her shell, so the old fox should not suspect anything. Yun Shujio originally wanted to stay here and see what the old ancestor would do, but she was sucked to Go-Wei Bakeo's side by a huge suction force. It seemed that she couldn't be too far away from her body. Sigh, what was going on? It was too terrible. After Yun Shujio left, an old man wearing a mask came out from behind the screen of the study. Master, why do I feel that the girl's behavior is a bit strange? The masked old man said with some doubt. The Lan family's patriarch shook his head. It's probably the sequela of being struck by lightning. After her injuries recover, she should be back to normal. The reason why the Lan family's ancestor did not have any doubts was that, firstly, he would never have thought that Yun Shujio's core had changed. Secondly, the tone and content of Yun Shujio's conversation with him were very normal. It was just that the way she walked and her behavior was a little strange. The masked elder nodded. What you said makes sense. The heavenly lightning was as thick as a millstone. It's already a miracle that she was able to survive. It's also normal for her to be injured. The Lan family's ancestor smiled. That troublemaker has always been different from ordinary people. If it wasn't for her intelligence, the Qing family's matter this time wouldn't have gone so smoothly. I still feel that it's unbelievable. I thought that we would have to go through a lot of trouble, but who would have thought that it would be resolved so easily? The elder smiled. Congratulations, Master. With the support of the Qing family of the Fog Valley, our Lan family's strength will increase by a lot. However, Master, if Yun Shujio's injuries cannot be recovered, what should we do about that matter? The Lan family's ancestor knocked on the table with his finger. After a moment of silence, he said, it's still early. That troublemaker knows how to refine pills herself. There shouldn't be any big problems. If it really doesn't work, we can think of another way. I now feel that she is more suitable than Luo Chen. Although Luo Chen is also very intelligent and her cultivation level is higher than that troublemaker, she lacks flexibility and may not be able to succeed. What you said makes sense. However, will you tell her the truth? After all, that little girl's mind is very clear. You may not be able to deceive her. The masked elder probed. The Lan family's ancestor let out a long breath. I'll think about it again. In any case, we still have time. I think you should take a look at on the other side. Goei Batsao sat on the soft couch and returned to the third room of the Lan family. Just as he entered the courtyard, he saw Lan Luofang ask with concern, "Little Jiu, are you all right? I just finished my class. Otherwise, I would have come to see you long ago." Goei Batsao followed Yun Chujia's instructions and said while covering his forehead, "Sister Luofang, my head hurts a little. I want to go in and lie down for a while. I'll look for you another day." Lan Luofang did not suspect him and quickly said, "Then quickly go in and lie down for a while. I'll get the kitchen to make some nourishing soup for you." Goei Batsao nodded and imitated Yun Chujia's walking posture into the house. Lan Luofang looked at Yun Chujia's difficult steps and was even more convinced that she was injured. She could not help but worry for her and left with a worried expression. For the next 2 days, Goei Batsao lived a very happy life. After eating all the herbs, this guy shamelessly went straight to Lan Luofang and asked her to help him buy more herbs. He said that he wanted to refine pills. Lan Luofang did not doubt him and immediately went to the pharmacy to buy a lot of herbs. He Xinjiu was so angry that she was about to puke. But she could not do anything about Goei Batsao. Goei Batsao was very proud of itself. It wished that it could live like this forever. It was simply too beautiful. That night, it was already midnight, and Goei Batsao hadn't slept yet. This fellow was nibbling on the herbs while reading. The script was simply wonderful. Pandas novels come at this moment. There was a knock on the door. "Little Jiu, open the door." Goei Batsao heard the cold voice and rolled down from the bed in fright. It was over. That jinx was here. Goei Batsao was trembling like a fallen leaf in the wind. Why did this fiend suddenly come here? What should he do? If that fiend knew that it had been whipping the stinky girl in anger for the past few days, would he directly turn her into a specimen? Otherwise, he might as well go back to his dantian. After all, he had no way to communicate with the stinky girl's primordial spirit and would not know about his own matters. However, it thought about it again. If that was the case, Di Biming would definitely be worried about Yun Chujia's body and would stay behind. If that was the case, how would it come out to eat the herbs? How would it come out to read the script? Goei Batsao rolled its eyes. Its body was now the wretched girl's and it was also familiar with the matters between them. It might as well fool him and make him leave quickly so that it could continue to act arrogantly. However, what if it was discovered by that jinx? This fellow gritted its teeth and comforted itself. As long as it was a little more careful, that jinx would definitely not discover it. After all, it would not have thought that its body would be taken over by Goei Batsao. Thinking of this, Goei Batsao swaggered to the door and opened it. He Xinjiu, who was floating, saw through Goei Bakao's intentions at a glance. She sneered in her heart. This idiot was looking down on the pretty boy too much. Since it was seeking its own death, she would definitely not stop it. After the door opened, Goei Batsao saw Di Biming standing at the door. Under the moonlight, Di Biming's entire body was covered in a silver halo. His eyes were filled with worry. In the past few days, the sound transmission talisman that he sent to Yun Chujiu had not been successful. In addition, he felt inexplicably uneasy, so he hurried over. Goei Batsao did not dare to look into Di Biming's eyes. Mimicking Yun Chujiu's usual manner, he said, "Prince Charming, why are you here?" "I think you should take a look at." Di Biming looked at the house full of herbs and felt a little puzzled. Why did little Jiu take out all these herbs? Why didn't she put them into her storage ring? He suppressed the doubts in his heart and asked, I have been unable to successfully send you the sound transmission talisman these days. What happened? Goei Batsao had already run back to the bed and hid under the blanket, only revealing his head. This was because he knew that when he was agitated, he would wave his arms and hide under the blanket so that he would not be exposed. Di Baiming frowned slightly, but he did not think too much about it. He thought that Yun Chuzhou could not wait to hide under the blanket because it was late at night and it was a little cold. Pandas novel's calm, I was struck a few days ago and my spiritual power was blocked, so I was unable to receive your voice transmission talisman. Goei Batsao said. Di Baiming immediately lifted the blanket when he heard that. He wanted to check Yun Chuzhou's pulse to see how badly injured she was. Goei Batsao thought that it had been exposed and was so scared that it trembled. When Di Baiming saw it like this, he was even more confused, but he did not show it. Di Baiming placed his hand on Goei Bacao's wrist. Although not everyone who cultivated knew how to refine pills, they still knew how to do basic diagnostic tests. When Di Baiming saw that there was nothing wrong with Goei Bacao's meridians, he was slightly relieved. If it was just spiritual power being sealed, it would return to normal in a few days. No wonder Little Nine had piled up all the herbs in the house. So that was the reason. Goei Batsao had the principle of saying more and saying less, but seeing that Di Baiming did not speak, it did not dare to speak either. Hei Xinzhou, who was floating in the air, could not help but feel a little stifled. This idiot gigolo, would he really let Goei Batsao fool him? At this time, Di Baiming quietly sized up Goei Batsao. He was even more confused. Little Nine was usually lively and active, but why was it so quiet today? Goei Batsao saw Di Baiming's gaze fall on it from time to time, and it shivered again. It didn't dare to look at Di Baiming, afraid that it would be exposed. Di Baiming suppressed the doubt in his heart and said, Little Jiu, tell me about what happened recently. Goei Batsao said a few words perfunctorily, and then said, It's already so late. It's better to rest first. If there's anything, we can talk about it tomorrow. Di Baiming's eyes deepened and said, Little Jiu, look at me. I have something important to tell you. Goei Batsao hummed and said, My head hurts. Tell me. I'm listening. Di Baiming tightened his grip and pulled Goei Batsao out of the blanket. Then, he made Goei Batsao look at him. Goei Batsao did not expect Di Baiming to be so rude. He subconsciously waved his arm, wanting to send Di Baiming flying. However, it was not grass now, and it did not have any spiritual power. It did not hurt at all when it hit Di Baiming's body. When Di Baiming saw its actions, his eyes suddenly turned cold. You are Goei Ba. Where is Little Jiu? Goei Batsao did not expect to be exposed in less than 10 minutes. It wanted to cry but had no tears. It wanted to deny it, but when it saw Di Baiming's cold eyes, it did not dare. This fellow broke free from Di Baiming's hand and knelt on the ground with a plop. Esther, male god, no, great god, it was the little fairy who let me possess her. She was struck by lightning and her primordial spirit left her body. She was afraid that the Lan family's ancestor would abandon her after finding out, so she let me possess her. I was just following orders. She is floating here now. If you don't believe me, you can ask her yourself. I think you should take a look at this point. Goei Batsao felt a little more confident. That's right. This fiend had no way to communicate with that stinky girl at all. Whatever it said, it would do. What was there to be afraid of? Hei Xinzhou, who was floating, was gratified that Di Baiming had seen through Goei Batsao. On the other hand, she felt a little frustrated when she saw herself kneeling in front of Di Baiming. Although Di Baiming had some guesses in his heart, he was still shocked. Little Jiu's primordial spirit had left her body? He stared at Goei Batsao and asked, Is what you said true? Didn't you hurt Little Jiu? Goei Batsao saw his cold eyes and shivered. She quickly said, It's true. It's all true. I have turned from the dark to the light and turned over a new leaf. The little fairy and I are one. If anything happens to her, I won't be able to recover. Why would I harm her? What? Pandas novel Kamgwe Batsao had the urge to return to its dantian and play dead. It raised its head to look at Yunchujo, only to see that Yunchujo had no intention of telling it at all. Moreover, the corner of her mouth revealed a sinister smile. Its head buzzed. This stinky girl was obviously going to trick it. Goei Batsao regretted it. If it had known earlier, it would not have acted like a demon. What should it do now? If that wretched girl did not tell it the answer, Di Biming, this fiend, would definitely think that it was lying and would not let it off. As expected, Guai Chao felt colder and colder. The cold air on Di Biming's body almost froze it into ice. Di Biming's cold voice rang out, "Are you lying to me?" Goei Batsao looked at Hei Shinjo, who was floating in the air, and asked for help. Hei Shinjo looked at it with a smile but did not say anything. Goei Batsao was so angry that it was twitching. No wonder the stupid girl did not say a word when she saw it acting like a demon. It turned out that she was holding back a big move. It was too sinister. Goei Batsao had no choice but to tell the truth while trembling. God, I was wrong. I made the little fairy angry, so she deliberately pranked me and did not tell me the answer. I swear, I won't dare to do it again in the future. Oh. How did you provoke little Joe? Di Biming asked in a deep voice he had already guessed a little. This house full of medicinal herbs was probably obtained by Goei Batsao on his own initiative. Goei Batsao cried, I didn't do anything. I just bought some medicinal herbs to eat. People's food is their priority. I can't possibly be hungry, right? Di Biming sneered. He probably bought a lot of these herbs. Otherwise, little Gio wouldn't be so angry. Moreover, Goei Batsao was getting bolder and bolder. Previously, it had kept a small treasury. Now that it had a chance to possess it, it would definitely be very proud. I think you should take a look at Goei Batsao saw that a certain one was silent, so it could only look at Hei Shinjo with a whimper. Little fairy, I was wrong. Please spare me this time. I will definitely change in the future and never let anyone buy herbs for me again. Yunchujo could not be bothered with it. The most important thing was to look at her crying face. It was too awkward. Alright, we will settle the score in the future. Ask him if there is a way for my primordial spirit to enter my body again. Goei Batsao quickly repeated Yunchuji's words. Di Biming pondered for a moment and said, if it was in the past, I really wouldn't have any way. However, after I broke the seal this time and recovered some of my memories, I do have a way. Yunchujo was immediately delighted. What solution? Of course, these words had to be relayed through Go Weiba. In order to gain a good impression of him, Go Weiba said obsequiously, the great deity is indeed powerful. He is simply incomparably wise. What is the solution? Yunchujo, this scheming grass. Yunchujo noticed that Di Biming frowned slightly. She knew that things were going to be difficult, so she asked, Idol, is there something wrong? Go Weiba said flatteringly, Guru, little fairy asked if there is anything wrong with you. That place called the Sea of Clouds was originally an ownerless place. But now, it is occupied by the Bitter Zen sect. So, you have to find a way to get the Bitter Zen sect to agree to let you soak in the soul-fixing spring, or destroy the Bitter Zen sect, Di Biming said in a deep voice. Yunchujo had a headache when she heard that. The Zen sect and the Divine Devil Hall were on the same side. They would definitely not agree to let her soak in the soul-fixing spring. Destroy the Zen sect? It was not something that could be done in a day or two. If time dragged on, what would happen if her primordial spirit scattered? Although Di Baiming's cultivation base was high, it was not a problem for him to enter the Zen sect by himself. However, he could not let her soak in the soul-fixing spring without anyone noticing. Di Baiming also frowned deeply. If he did not have the divine devil hall, he and the Zen sect could destroy the bitter Zen sect together. However, the bad thing was that the divine devil hall was behind the bitter Zen sect. If they tried to force it, even if they could win in the end, it would take a long time. Is it effective to get some water from the soul-fixing spring? Yun Shujo asked through Goei-Batsao. Di Baiming shook his head. No, once the water from the spring leaves the pool, it will lose its effect. You have to soak in the spring. Di Baiming and Yun Shujo could not think of any good ideas. Yun Shujo said, Prince Charming, it's getting late. Go to bed first. It's not too late anyway. Di Baiming was fine, but he was afraid that something would happen to Yun Shuji's body, so he nodded immediately. However, he thought of a crucial problem at this time. Goei-Batsao felt a chill and shivered. What was wrong with this fiend? Di Baiming stared at Goei-Batsao. I ask you, how did you do things like bathing and changing clothes? Goei-Batsao immediately felt that things were not looking good. This fiend had overturned the pot of vinegar. It quickly said in fear and trepidation, God, don't worry. Hong Ling helped me do all these things. At that time, I will hide back in my dantian. The little fairy will cut off my spiritual sense. I won't be able to see anything. Di Baiming's coldness faded a little, but his expression was still a little ugly. He said coldly to Goei-Batsao, unless it's necessary, you will stay in your dantian. Don't come out and be an eyesore. Goei-Batsao was so angry. I think you should take a look at what was an eyesore. It was clearly that smelly girl who let it out, all right? If it wasn't for Goei-Bakeo's emergency, that smelly girl would still be running around in the pit. Humph. Of course, this fellow would never say this matter even if he was beaten to death, because he was afraid of death. Yes. It agreed with a grievance, and then hid back in its dantian. Di Baiming knew that Yun Shujo was definitely not far from him, and he said gently, Little Jiu, don't worry, there will definitely be a way. As Yun Shujo had not cut off the spiritual sense connection, Guai Chao also heard a certain respected figure's words, and he cursed in his heart, Pui. The change in expression was really fast. When facing it, it was like a cold wind sweeping away fallen leaves, and when facing the smelly girl, it was like a spring breeze warming up. It was really like watching a person leave a dish. Humph. Without it to pass on the message, how would they communicate? In the end, they would still have to beg Goei-Ba to go out and help. Unfortunately, Goei-Batsao was mistaken. Di Baiming comforted Yun Shujo a few times, but did not have any intention of summoning her out. Pandas Novel's Kamaltho Di Baiming could not see Yun Shujo. He somehow knew that Yun Shujo was floating above his palm. He lowered his head to kiss her and said slowly, Don't be afraid, I will accompany you. Hearing his words, Yun Shujo broke into tears. Of course she was afraid. Anyone would be afraid when their primordial spirit left their body, and she was no exception. But, who could she tell? If she told Goei-Batsao, that idiot would definitely laugh at her. Goei-Batsao in her dantian looked at Hei Shinjo who was grinning and shook its leaves. It was so ugly. Although Di Baiming could not see Yun Shujo crying, he could guess it. His heart ached and he had to think of a way as soon as possible. That night, Di Baiming, Yun Shujo, and Goei-Batsao did not sleep at all. Di Baiming had been thinking about how to let Yun Shujo go to the soul consolidation spring for treatment, so he did not sleep. Yun Shujo could not sleep because she was in her primordial spirit state. As for Goei-Batsao, it usually did not sleep much. Moreover, it was worried that Di Baiming would take care of it, so it could not sleep. The next morning, although Di Baiming was unwilling, he still asked Yun Shujo to summon Goei-Batsao to possess it. After all, without it to pass the message, he could not communicate with Yun Chuzhou. As for Lu Luo and Kai Yun, they would just faint first. The reason was very simple. Although the two of them were loyal to her, they were not as smart as Hong Ling. It was better not to let them know. Although Hong Ling saw Di Biming after she woke up, she did not ask anything. She just obediently stood guard in the courtyard. Di Biming took out breakfast from his storage ring and let Goei Batsao eat it. Of course, he didn't want Goei Batsao to eat it, but he wanted Yun Chujia's body to eat it. Goei Batsao was about to grab the food with his hands, but when he saw Di Biming's cold gaze, he could only force himself to pick up a pair of chopsticks. This fellow had always used his hands to grab the food, how would he know how to use chopsticks? I think you should take a look at therefore, this meal was extremely miserable. It took him almost 2 hours to finish it, and he even dirted his clothes. A certain being glanced at the drooping Goei Batsao and said, "Go back to your dantian." Little Jiu cut off its spiritual connection. Goei Batsao immediately understood that it wanted Hong Ling to change Yun Chujia's clothes, so it obediently went back to its dantian. Yun Chuzhou thought the same, so she quickly cut off Goei Bakao's spiritual connection. However, she never expected that Di Biming did call Hong Ling over, but he only asked for a clean set of clothes from her and sent Hong Ling away. Then, she was stunned to see a certain someone start to remove her clothes with a red face. He Xinjiu was both embarrassed and angry, this pervert. He actually took advantage of her when she was in danger. How outrageous. In a moment of desperation, this guy raised his hand and slapped Di Biming. Pa! A crisp sound was heard. Both Di Biming and He Xinjiu were stunned. Yun Chuzhou was dumbfounded when she saw the slap mark on Di Biming's face. Did she really hit him just now? Wasn't she at the immortal soul stage now? How did she do it? Ignoring the pain on his face, a certain deity said in surprise, Little Jiu, did you hit me? Hit me again. Hey Xinjiu, was this pretty boy a masochist? Of course, the certain someone was not a masochist, but he felt that he was hallucinating. Little Jiu was now in her primordial spirit state, so how did she slap him? Yun Chuzhou did not know how she did it, but she did it out of desperation. Chapter 5306, I despise myself. She suddenly remembered that when she was trapped under the ghost city in the desert of death, her primordial spirit had left her body. Later, she tried to use her spiritual sense to attack, and that was how she got out of the predicament. Could it be that she had unintentionally used her spiritual sense to attack? If she could skillfully use her spiritual sense to attack, could it be that not only could she attack, but she could also write? The more Yun Chuzhou thought about it, the more excited she became. She immediately summoned the Goei Batsao and said to it, "Prepare a brush, ink, paper, and inkstone for me. I want to try using my primordial spirit to write." Goei Batsao did not know what had just happened, but when it saw the palm print on Di Biming's face, it could not help but laugh out loud. This fellow also finished laughing. It also knew that it was going to suffer. As expected, Di Biming's cold gaze immediately landed on its body. It could even feel that the gaze pierced through Yun Chujia's body, directly landing on its main body. This fellow came up with an idea in a hurry. It stammered as it explained, "Great God, don't misunderstand, I am not laughing at you, I am happy for the little fairy." If she had mastered the divine sense attack, she would have an additional life-saving method. Think about it, if she meets an especially powerful enemy, the little fairy can let me possess her body and then she can use her primordial spirit to launch a sneak attack. This is simply a sharp weapon to kill people and steal their treasures. After listening to Go Weiba words, Di Biming did not have time to say anything before He Xinjiu became excited. That's right. Go Weiba words made sense. If she could really master the spiritual sense attack, she would be able to openly attack in the future. No one would be able to discover her, ha ha ha. This fellow suddenly thought of a question. Previously, she had killed some demons or monsters, and the primordial spirit of those things could be seen by others. Why was it that other than Go Wei Batsao, her primordial spirit, no one else could see it? Yun Shujo mentioned her question, but Di Baiming did not answer her immediately because he had discovered this question a long time ago. Whether it was a human or a devil, the primordial spirit was a miniature version of itself. Once the primordial spirit left the body, everyone could see it. In fact, he had seen Yun Shujia's primordial spirit before. It was in the passage to the ghost realm. Little Joe, maybe it's because you are the ghost ancestor. Di Baiming guessed. Go Wei Bakao's eyes flashed. It knew the reason, but it did not tell them. HMPH, did it think that Go Wei Ba was easy to bully? It knew many things, but it did not tell them. Yun Shujo quickly threw this question to the back of her mind. She asked Di Baiming to take out a brush, ink, paper, and inkstone. This guy began to practice writing with his primordial spirit. Things were simple, but it was not so easy to operate. 4 hours had passed. Not to mention writing, she could not even touch the xian paper. Hei Xingzhou could not help but feel a little depressed. Moreover, she felt very tired after all this, so she could only give up temporarily. Go Wei Batsao cursed in her heart, bah. Previously, she had laughed at it for being a bad student. Now, she was no better than it, even dumber than it. Just like Go Wei Batsao, it could easily turn into a spiritual power clone. What an amazing ability. How could it be like this wretched girl who couldn't even learn spiritual sense attacks? She was even dumber than a pig. Go Wei Batsao thought so in his heart, and a look of disdain appeared on his face. After seeing it, Di Baiming immediately said coldly, Go Wei Batsao, what are you thinking about? Go Wei Batsao immediately trembled, no, nothing. I despise myself. I made the little fairy angry. I'm too unworthy. I'm simply not worthy to be a grass. Although Di Baiming didn't know what Go Wei Batsao was thinking, he could guess it. This Go Wei Batsao was different from Little Nine's other spiritual pets. To a certain extent, Little Nine was completely controlled by it. Even though his memory had been unsealed a lot, there was still no record of it. What the hell was this thing? Go Wei Batsao saw Di Baiming's cold gaze and shivered again. This fellow was scolding himself, you useless fool. What was there to be afraid of? He couldn't cripple the smelly girl's dantian. What was there to be afraid of? This fellow encouraged himself and finally calmed down a little. However, he still didn't dare to say anything and sneakily stood in the corner, pretending to be a mushroom. Di Baiming could not be bothered with it. He would let it prance around for a few days first. When he found out its weakness, it would not be too late to deal with it. At this moment, Hong Ling knocked on the door. Miss, housekeeper Su from the ancestral residence is here. He said that the old ancestor wants you to go over for a while. Go Wei Batsao followed Yun Shujia's instructions and quickly said, got it. He said that I will go over right away. Yun Shujio was puzzled. The old fox clearly knew that her spiritual power was sealed, so why did he ask her to go over? She asked Go Wei Batsao to tell Di Baiming to wait here. She and Go Wei Batsao went to the ancestral house to see what the old ancestor of the Lan family was selling. Go Wei Batsao still sat on the soft couch and went to the ancestral house. The first time was new, and the second time was familiar. Go Wei Bakao's performance this time was much better than the last time. Pandas novel's Kami and Shujia's heart moved. Master Liaowu would not look for her for no reason. It was most likely related to the matter of her pretending to be a Buddha. Otherwise, she would have told the old fox. It was good to go there. She could take the opportunity to inquire about the Bitter Zen sect. I think you should take a look at therefore, she said, since Master Liaowu has invited me, I will go and take a look. You can send a message to ask them to send someone to pick me up. Master Lan nodded and immediately sent a message to Master Liaowu. Soon, the other side gave a definite answer and immediately sent someone to pick Yun Shujo up. The old ancestor of the Lan family had some doubts in his heart. The Zen sect was too eager to deal with this troublemaker. Was it because of the Buddha's candle? Or was there some secret between them that he did not know? However, no matter what, it was a good thing for the Lan family that the troublemaker had a good relationship with the Zen sect. As for the other things, he would find out sooner or later. Yun Shujo found a reason to leave so that the fake Goei Batsao would not be exposed. After Goei Batsao saw Di Baiming, he told him the story in a flattering manner. Di Baiming frowned slightly. Little Joe, are you really going to the Zen sect? You don't have any spiritual power now, and your primordial spirit has left your body. It's too dangerous. It's okay. Those monks from the Zen sect won't harm me. If I go, I can also get some information about the bitter Zen sect. Yun Shujo told Goei Batsao to tell him. Di Baiming still felt that something was wrong, so he said, all right, since you insist on going, I'll go with you. Yun Shujo did not refuse. She really needed someone to protect her in her current state. Now that the situation was becoming clear, she was not afraid that Di Baiming would bring any trouble. Moreover, the Zen sect was not on good terms with the Divine Devil Hall. For days later, Yun Shujo followed the Zen sect to the Zen sect. Di Baiming did not go with Yun Shujo. Instead, he was secretly protecting her. The people who came to pick up Yun Shujo from the Zen sect this time were still Master Lei, Ji Kong, and Ji Su. Along the way, Master Lei's eyes were fixed on Yun Shujo vaguely, with a vague intention of probing. Goei Batsao was a little scared by his gaze. He found an excuse to stay in the cabin and did not go out. He said to Hei Shinjo, the old monk looked at the baby strangely. Did he notice something? Yun Shujo thought for a moment and said, it's possible, but it might not be a bad thing. Maybe he has a solution. Let's wait until we get to the Zen sect. On this day, the flying spiritual device finally arrived at the Zen sect. Once they arrived at the Zen sect, Yun Shujo was surrounded by many monks. Di Baiming, who was hiding in the dark, was about to make a move when he heard Goei Batsao say, Master Lei, what do you mean by this? Amitabha, Buddha's candle, did you possess almsgiver Yun's body? Hurry up and return almsgiver Yun's freedom. Master Lei shouted sternly. Yun Shujo, this was a wonderful misunderstanding. However, this gave her a good excuse. Thus, she commanded Goei Batsao and said to Master Lei, let's talk in private. Master Lei frowned, but he still led Goei Batsao to his meditation room. Goei Batsao followed Yun Shuji's instructions and said, Master Lei, you are right. I am Buddha's candle. I have occupied the little fairy's body. Goei Batsao was secretly delighted. That's great. With Buddha's candle as a scapegoat, it would be scapegoated even if it did some bad things in the future. I think you should take a look at Master Lei shouted angrily, what did you do to benefactor Yun? Why aren't you returning her body to her? Master, please calm down. I have taken over her body passively. After she was struck by the heavenly lightning, her primordial spirit left her body. If I don't possess her body will be destroyed. Look, she is floating here now. Goei Batsao pointed at a place beside Master Lei. Master Lei did not believe Goei Bakeo's story at all. No matter how Goei Batsao explained, he was sure that it had possessed Yun Shujo with ill intentions. Pandas novels come in the end, it was Yun Shujo who told a few things that the Buddha's candle did not know. It was only after Master Lei believed Goei Bakeo's story. Only then did the two begin to talk through Goei Batsao. Master Lei, I heard that the bitter Zen sect has a soul-fixing spring that can treat the condition of the primordial spirit leaving the body. Is that true? It is true. However, the soul-fixing spring is a precious treasure of the bitter Zen sect. If you want to go there for treatment, I'm afraid it will be as difficult as ascending to the heavens, Master Lei sighed. Yun Chujiu heaved a sigh of relief when she received the affirmative answer. As for whether it was difficult or not, it was up to the man to do it. She would definitely think of a way. By the way, why did you and Master Liao ask me to come to the Zen sect? Master Li revealed a worried expression. The bitter Zen sect did not succeed in the last 10,000 Buddhist Dharma assembly. A few days ago, they sent someone to send a post saying that there was a magnificent scene of the Sea of Clouds Buddhist light in the bitter Zen sect. They invited us over to enjoy it. It really put us in a dilemma. Yun Chujiu said with puzzlement, what's so difficult about that? If you want to go, then go. If you don't want to go, then don't go. Master Lei explained, the Buddhist light of the Sea of Clouds is a grand scene that Buddhists dream of. If we refuse, the bitter Zen sect will definitely add oil to the fire and spread it out, saying that we are not sincere in cultivating Buddhism. Master Lei sighed and continued, moreover, they also promised us that we could copy the ancient Buddhist scriptures that the bitter Zen sect took away when we went there. This is really an irresistible temptation. However, we also know that the bitter Zen sect doesn't have good intentions, so we are in a dilemma. The sect master took you over because he wanted to ask you what advice you have on this. Yun Chujiu was so smart. She immediately understood what Master Lei and the others were thinking. They wanted to go to the bitter Zen sect, but they were afraid of death, so they wanted her to go with them. After all, she had performed very well at the 10,000 Buddha Dharma assembly, which made them have confidence in her. Master Lei and the others had indeed planned to do so, but Master Lei's heart was now half cold. Yun Chujiu's primordial spirit could not protect herself if it left her body. It was useless to bring her along. She was a burden. Yun Chujiu's heart was moved. She was worried that she would not be able to enter the bitter Zen sect, but this was such a good opportunity. No matter what, once she entered the bitter Zen sect, she would have a chance to get close to the soul consolidation spring. She could not give up this opportunity no matter what. Therefore, she said, Master Lei, I see that you actually want to go and take a look. Then go and take a look. As for the danger, we can transfer some of it to others. You should immediately invite the people from the 4 great families and the Zen sect to go together. When the people arrive at the bitter Zen sect will not be able to refuse. Master Lei's eyes immediately lit up. Although 3 of the 4 great families had colluded with the Divine Devil Hall, they were not on good terms with each other. If used properly, the situation could be completely messed up. Immediately, Master Lei brought Yun Chujiu to see Master Liao. Pandas novel. Come. Master Lei told Master Liao about the matter. After a moment of silence, Master Liao said, all right, let's do as she says. The reason why Master Liao was so happy was that they really wanted to go to the bitter Zen sect. Whether it was the Buddhist light of the Sea of Clouds or those ancient Buddhist scriptures, they were too attracted to them. However, there was a thorny problem in front of them. What identity did this troublemaker have to follow them? Yun Chujiu or the lonely little monk? Amitabha. Master, I am your disciple. Naturally, I have to follow you as a lonely person, Yun Chujiu said through Goeibatsao. Master Liao also felt that it was safer to bring this fellow with him. However, how could he solve this problem with his appearance, gender, and Buddhist power? Appearance was easy to solve. Although Yun Chujiu could not open the storage ring, Beiming storage ring contained a disguise pill. In the end, Master Liao took out a ring with a pained expression and said, this heavenly phoenix ring can be used without spiritual power activation. Goeibatsao had received He Xinjia's true inheritance. Before Master Liao could finish his words, this guy snatched the ring away. The issue of appearance and gender had been resolved. As for the Buddha power, no one could think of any solution. Yun Chujiu said, how about saying that there was a mistake during the breakthrough, so the Buddha power was sealed? No one had any other choice but to agree. Hei Shinjo thought for a while. She reckoned that the old fox of the Lan family would find out about it this time. After all, there was no such coincidence. It didn't matter if they found out about it. Yun Shujo was still placed in the wooden house near the Spring of Tranquility. As soon as she returned to the wooden house, she saw Di Baiming. Go-Wei Batsao hastily recounted what had happened. Di Baiming felt that this was a good idea. He might be able to enter the Spring of Tranquility for treatment with this opportunity. However, he did not expect Yun Shujo to let Go Weiba recount, "Prince Charming, don't follow me to the bitter Zen sect." Di Baiming naturally didn't agree. She was now a weakling who was at the mercy of others. How could he not follow her? "Prince Charming, I naturally have a reason for doing this. The bitter Zen sect must have set a trap this time and wanted to harm Master Liaowu and the others. However, I have already asked Master Liaowu to bring the people from the 4 great families along. This way, the arrangements of the bitter Zen sect would definitely be disrupted. However, this is not enough. There is still a huge hidden danger, and that is the Divine Devil Hall. After you leave, think of a way to attract the attention of the Divine Devil Hall to you. Naturally, they will not care about the bitter Zen sect. I can also do things more conveniently," Yun Shujo explained. Although Di Baiming knew that what she said made sense, he was still worried. Go-Wei Batsao quickly expressed its loyalty. "Great God, don't worry. I, Go-Wei Batsao, will definitely protect the little fairy well. If it really doesn't work, I can still summon demonic beasts." Di Baiming glanced at it and thought, "It's because of you that I'm worried." In the end, Di Baiming still couldn't persuade Yun Shujo, so he could only agree. Before he left, Di Baiming said to Go-Wei Batsao coldly, "Let bygones be bygones. If you don't listen to little Jiao and act on your own, this venerable self will definitely make your life worse than death." Go-Wei Batsao trembled like a sieve. "Great God, don't worry. I will definitely listen to the little fairy. If the little fairy wants me to go east, I will definitely not go west. If the little fairy wants me to chase the chickens, I will definitely not beat the dogs." Di Baiming snorted and Go-Wei Batsao shut her mouth. Even though he was extremely reluctant, Di Baiming still gritted his teeth and left. He knew that what Yun Shujo said made sense. It was far more beneficial for him to attract the attention of the Divine Devil Hall than to stay here. Go-Wei Batsao saw that Di Baiming had quickly disappeared and immediately sat on the ground. Oh God! That fiend had finally left. It scared the baby to death. She had the dual identity of ghost ancestor and demon ancestor after all. Wasn't the pretty boy just a Shengzun? Why was Go-Wei Batsao so afraid of the pretty boy but not of her? Yun Shujo explained her question and Go-Wei Ba rolled its eyes. Women, as expected, long hair and short knowledge. However, after saying that, Go-Wei Ba seemed to feel that something was wrong. This stinky girl was now bald. It seemed that regardless of the length of her hair, women were short-sighted. Yun Shujo looked at its smug look and secretly gritted her teeth. Very well, Go-Wei Ba, little Jiao will take revenge. 10 years is not too late. Let's wait and see. When the people from the 4 great families had arrived, Master Liaowu brought everyone to the Sea of Clouds. The heads of the 4 great families and Master Liaowu and the others were on the same spaceship. Everyone's gaze fell on the lonely little monk. The lonely little monk put his palms together. After saluting everyone, he silently retreated to the side. Master Liaowu sighed and said, "Alas, my disciple had a bad breakthrough a few days ago, and his Buddhist energy was sealed. Fortunately, he is simple-minded and not affected. That's why I brought him to admire the Buddhist light of the Sea of Clouds. Perhaps he can recover soon." Hearing this, the crowd suddenly came to a realization. They all had different thoughts. Some were sympathetic and some were gloating. However, the ancestor of the Lan family, frowned. How could it be so coincidental? The spiritual power of that troublemaker had been sealed, and the Buddhist power of Lonesome had been sealed. Moreover, the Zen sect had hurriedly taken that troublemaker to the Zen sect. The conclusion was obvious. Could it be that the little monk Lonesome in front of them was that troublemaker? The more Ancestor Lan thought about it, the more suspicious he felt. However, it wasn't appropriate to ask at this time. He only looked at lonely little monk with a complicated expression. Hei Shinjo, who was floating in the air, saw the look in Ancestor Lan's eyes and knew that she had been exposed. However, this fellow was already mentally prepared and didn't take it to heart. She was afraid that Go-Wei Batsao would mess up lonely little monk's character, so she made him sit cross-legged in meditation before rolling back to his dantian. In this way, lonely little monk gave people a calm and unperturbed look. Seeing this, everyone sighed with admiration at the little lonely monk's good nature. He was actually so calm despite encountering such an unforeseen event. Go-Wei Batsao cursed in her heart. Of course, she was calm and tranquil. This smelly girl's body was as if it was dead. How could she not be calm? The Bitter Zen sect was located in the westernmost part of the Chongshao continent. Therefore, the flying spirit tool flew for nearly 10 days before they arrived at the Sea of Clouds. When Yinchujiu saw the Sea of Clouds, she could not help but be shocked. The mist valley that she had seen before could not be compared to the Sea of Clouds in front of her. This Sea of Clouds was just like a fairyland. From afar, several halls of the Bitter Zen sect could be vaguely seen in the Sea of Clouds. They were somewhat similar to the floating layer of the Supreme City. While everyone was sighing, Xian Hui had already brought people to welcome them. Everyone, please forgive me for not welcoming you from afar. Senior brother Xian Ji is busy with other matters and cannot personally come to welcome you. Please do not take offense, Xian Hui said politely. Everyone also exchanged a few pleasantries and followed Xian Hui into the Sea of Clouds. When Xian Hui saw lonely little monk, a trace of malice flashed in his eyes. This lonely had killed his disciple, Yuan Guang. This time, he must not return. However, Xian Hui was stunned for a moment. Why didn't this lonely have any Buddhist power cultivation? Xian Hui couldn't help but ask, Master Liaowu, why does your disciple have no cultivation? Amitabha Buddha. When Lonely was breaking through a few days ago, some bad things happened. Therefore, his Buddhist power was sealed, Master Liaowu replied. I think you should take a look at Xian Hui thought, he deserved it. He really deserved it. He had lost his cultivation, which made him even easier to deal with. Lonesome was dead for sure. Go-Wei Batsao felt Xian Hui's gaze and wished it could go over and beat him to death. However, it didn't have enough strength left in its heart, so it could only endure it. However, this guy didn't grow up and soon began to swing his arms. Hei Shinjo, who was floating in the air, cursed angrily, Go-Wei Ba, you better walk properly. Go-Wei Batsao had no choice but to continue pretending reluctantly. After a while, they finally arrived at the mountain gate of the Bitter Zen sect. The mountain gate of the Bitter Zen sect was almost exactly the same as the mountain gate of the Zen sect, except that there was an additional word, bitter, on the plaque. Everyone, please come in. Xian Hui said politely. After exchanging some pleasantries with Master Liaowu and the others, they entered the gate one by one. Lonely Monk was a junior, so he naturally had to be at the back of the line. However, no one had expected that just as this guy's left foot stepped into the gate, a huge force came at him. This guy was careless for a moment and fell on his butt. Go-Wei Batsao was so angry that he almost flew into a rage. Who did this? Was he really trying to make things difficult for Go-Wei Ba? This was truly outrageous. He really wanted to see who was plotting against him. Ji Kong and Ji Su quickly helped Lonely Monk up. They thought that he was weak, so they helped him to walk inside. Who would have thought that he would be knocked down by a huge force the moment he reached the mountain gate? Ji Kong and Ji Su were also dragged down. Go Weiba was dumbfounded. It wasn't man-made? Then what was going on? Everyone's gaze also fell on it. Master Liaowu frowned slightly. Lonesome, what's going on? Go Batsao quickly followed Yun Chujia's instructions and said with some grievance, Master, perhaps it's because disciples' Buddha power has been sealed, so I can't enter the mountain gate. Master Liaowu was stunned. What kind of reason was this? The people of the four great families didn't have Buddhist power either. Didn't they all come in all of a sudden? A strange look flashed in Xian Hu's eyes. Although he didn't know what the reason was, he could make a big deal out of it. He quickly thought of a vicious idea. He put his palms together and said, Amitba. Master Liaowu, you don't know that the mountain gate of our bitter Zen sect has a Buddha's eye demon discerning array. Since Lonesome is unable to enter the mountain gate, he must have been possessed by an evil demon. In other words, he is most likely a reincarnation of the demon race. Since that's the case, you'd better kill him out of righteousness so as not to bring harm to the common people. Go Batsao almost died from anger. This damned old bald donkey. You are the real reincarnation of the demon race. You are the one who is bringing harm to the common people. I'm so angry. Fortunately, after being threatened by Di Biming, this fellow did not dare to act on his own now. Otherwise, this fellow would definitely scold Xian Hui until her blood boiled. Master Liaowu was also very angry. That little girl was possessed by the Buddha's candle. How was she the reincarnation of the demon race? What nonsense. However, why was the mountain gate not letting her in? Was it because her primordial spirit had left her body? Sect Master Lei Wu said in a deep voice, Master Liaowu, that's not true. I have been worshipping Buddha in the Thousand Buddha Cave for many years. How could I be the reincarnation of the demon race? I think you should take a look at it. Was probably because his cultivation had been sealed that there was such a misunderstanding. If the bitter Zen sect treats our guests like this, then our Zen sect can only bid farewell. Xian Hui secretly gritted her teeth. If they let Master Liaowu leave just like that, then their bitter Zen sect's efforts would be in vain. Moreover, there were plenty of ways to deal with that loneliness, so it wouldn't take too long. Thinking of this, he shook his head and sighed. All right, since Master Liaowu insists on doing this, then I have nothing more to say. Master Liaowu snorted coldly and gave a look to Master Lei. Master Lei immediately walked to the side of Go Batsao and carried it into the mountain gate. During this process, Master Lei also felt the huge force. However, his cultivation was superb, so he managed to force his way through the mountain gate. Go Batsao shook his arm and jumped a few times on the spot. After seeing that there was nothing unusual, he was finally relieved. Hei Xinjiu was furious. This damned Go Batsao had almost destroyed the character of lonely little monk. Fortunately, Go Batsao began to put on an act again after being scolded. Moreover, as it was a grass, its mind was even purer. At this moment, the appearance that it put on with all its heart felt somewhat ethereal. When everyone saw this, the doubts that rose up earlier were also put down. The reason why Lonely was jumping earlier was probably because he was scared. Yun Chujiu also heaved a sigh of relief. However, she was so angry that she almost disappeared. As the sea of clouds was very suitable for the growth of medicinal herbs, there were many medicinal herbs growing on both sides of the road. Moreover, most of them were rarely seen in other places. Therefore, the crowd was dumbfounded when they saw little monk Lone jump into the medicinal herb bush and start pulling the grass. Everyone was dumbfounded when they saw lonely little monk's action. What did he mean? Why did Lonely pluck those herbs? Did those herbs offend him? Only He Xinjiu, who was floating in the air, knew that the reason Go Weiba plucked the herbs was naturally gluttony. She was so angry that she shouted, "Go Weiba, stop right now. Otherwise, you will never see Xiao Mogu again." Yun Shujiu was not willing to use this to threaten Go Wei Batsao because she always felt that she was the mother of the couple. Of course, it was only Go Wei Bakao's wishful thinking. Xiao Mogu did not even think about it. When Go Wei Batsao heard the words, Xiao Mogu, it struggled in its heart. In the end, it had the upper hand and reluctantly withdrew its claws. Pandas noveled come therefore, this fellow hugged the medicinal herbs and asked Ji Su to help it put them away. Ji Su helped it put away the medicinal herbs with a stiff face. Then, he heard Go Wei Batsao put his palms together and say, "Ba. This penniless monk has been learning alchemy recently. Therefore, when I saw these medicinal herbs, I couldn't help but feel embarrassed." Of course, these words were taught by He Xinjiu. No matter what, he had to give himself a way out. Master Liaowu thought to himself that the Buddha's candle was unreliable. Why would he pluck other people's herbs for no reason? Although he was cursing in his heart, he still said cooperatively, "Master Xian Hui, I'm really sorry. This disciple of mine has been obsessed with studying these herbs ever since he failed in his cultivation. Alas, I can't be too harsh on him since he has suffered such a blow. Please forgive him, Master Xian Hui." I think you should take a look at Xian Hui didn't say anything. He just said a few polite words and continued to accompany the others to the meeting hall. Go Wei Batsao glanced at the herbs on both sides of the road from the corner of his eye and swallowed his saliva secretly. This bitter Zen sect was much better than the Zen sect. There was delicious food everywhere. It was simply too blissful to live here. This fellow's mind was full of herbs. It wished it could lie down in the grass and take a bite. Yun Shujiu knew Go Wei Batsao too well. Naturally, she knew what it was thinking about now. She warned, "Go Wei Batsao, you better restrain yourself. If you are exposed, I won't be able to recover, and neither will you." Hearing this, Go Wei Batsao continued to walk forward without looking sideways. This fellow was thinking in his heart, there should be medicinal herbs in the place where he would be staying at night, right? When the time came, just as Go Wei Batsao was thinking about something, everyone arrived at the meeting hall. Master Xuanji personally waited at the door, appearing to be very sincere. "I'm really sorry, I was busy with trivial matters and didn't welcome you. Please, please." After exchanging some pleasantries, they entered the meeting hall. After the guests and the host were seated, they began to chat. It was nothing more than empty pleasantries. He Xinjiu, who was floating in the air, curled her lips when she saw Master Zuanzi's hypocritical look. She had thought that Master Xuanji was just selfish and ruthless. She didn't expect that he was actually lecherous. He was really nothing. She didn't know if the other people of the bitter Zen sect knew about the deal between him and the Qing family. If they knew about it but didn't have any reaction, it meant that the people of the bitter Zen sect were nothing either. However, if the others didn't know about it, it would be a good opportunity to mess up the bitter Zen sect. After exchanging a few pleasantries, Master Xuanji said, "Everyone, the Buddhist light of the Sea of Clouds will only appear on the 1st and 15th day of the Lunar New Year. Today is the 10th day of the Lunar New Year. Therefore, please don't be impatient. Let's spend a few days in the bitter Zen sect." No one had any objections to this. Since they were already here, it would be better to take the opportunity to visit the bitter Zen sect for a few days. After all, the bitter Zen sect had 10,000 years of history. Master Xuanji asked his men to arrange for everyone to rest in the guest room before inviting them to a banquet in the evening. Yun Shujiu, who was floating in the air, caught a glimpse of a few hostile gazes. They were all old acquaintances, Yuan Tong, Yuan Ji, and Yuan Qing. Yun Shujiu had already expected this, so she was not surprised at all. She wanted to see what kind of trouble they were going to cause. Master Liaowu was worried that little monk Lonely would be in trouble if he did not have spiritual power, so when he allocated the houses, he directly let Gowei Batsao live in the same courtyard as him. Gowei Batsao was very reluctant. With this old monk around, it could not eat grass. But on second thought, it was a weak chicken now. It was safer to follow this old monk. Forget it, let's live together. Master Liaowu moved into the main room, and Gowei Batsao moved into the side room on the east side. This guy carried the herbs he got from Ji Su into the room and began eating grass. While eating, this guy whispered, "The herbs here are more delicious than other places. Little fairy, think of a way to take this bitter Zen sect for yourself." Although he didn't think that Yun Chujo and Little Fairy had anything to do with each other, he was flexible. In order to achieve his goal, he would even call Yun Chujo Great Aunt, let alone Little Fairy. Yun Chujo glanced at him. "That's easy for you to say. The bitter Zen sect is not that easy to get. Don't think about these endless things. The most important thing now is to find the location of the soul-fixing spring and find a way to return my primordial spirit to my body. What you said makes sense. We have to enter the soul-strengthening spring as soon as possible to soak in it. Have you thought of a way?" Gowei Batsao said. "I think you should take a look at." Gowei Batsao also wanted to return Yunchujia's primordial spirit to her body as soon as possible because it was too hard to be a human. Especially when it was the life of a monk. Moreover, if the stinky girl did not return her primordial spirit to her body, she would not be able to release Xiao Mogu. Yun Chujo blinked her eyes. She said, "Since the bitter Zen sect asked us to wait here for a few days, they will definitely send someone to show us around. One of them will definitely be the soul-strengthening spring. When the time comes, pretend that you accidentally fell into the pool." Gowei Batsao immediately gave Yun Chujo a thumbs up. "You are really cunning. Okay, let's do it." Yun Chujo was too lazy to argue with it. She also reminded her of the things that she needed to pay attention to at the banquet. Very soon, it was time for the banquet. The banquet was filled with vegetarian dishes, but there was wine. In the Chongshao continent, although Buddhist practitioners ate vegetarian food, they could still drink wine. This wine is brewed from the spring water of the Soul Consolidation Spring. It is refreshing and mellow. Moreover, it is extremely beneficial to the cultivation of the spiritual sense. "Everyone, please," Master Xuanji said with a smile. Yun Chujo, who was floating in the air, curled her lips. The pretty boy had told her that the spring water of the soul consolidating spring was useless when it left the pond. This Xianji must be exaggerating. Just as this fellow was thinking about it, he saw Gowei Batsao already gulping down a few cups of wine. This fellow even winked at her to claim credit. Did that mean that it was smart? This wine was brewed from the spring water of the soul consolidation spring. Perhaps it would be beneficial. Yun Chujo wished she could strangle this fellow to death. As expected, she saw her face was instantly dyed with a layer of pink. She was even a little shaky when she sat down. Although Gowei Batsao could absorb the poison, it could not cure the alcohol. Moreover, due to its gluttony, its main body had also drunk 2 cups. At this moment, it felt that it wanted to fly. It tried its best to resist the urge to fly with its arms. It kept chanting in its heart, 1 Xiao Mogu, 2 Xiao Mogu. Yun Chujo was so angry that she was about to explode. However, it was useless to be angry. She could only pray that this Gowei Batsao would not make a fool of himself, and that he would not cause any trouble. After everyone drank a few glasses of wine, the atmosphere became lively. Xian Hui glanced at Gowei Batsao, then said with a faint smile, "Senior brother sect leader, something strange happened today." Master Xuanji showed a curious look. "What is it?" "Tell me." "Today, when I accompanied the distinguished guests to enter the mountain gate, Lone was stopped twice by the Buddha's eye demon formation. In the end, a master lay forcefully brought him in. Xian Hui said with a fake smile. Master Xuanji immediately turned pale with fright. There is such a thing? Since the Buddha's eye demon formation blocked Lone outside the gate, it means that there must be something wrong with him. Maybe he is the reincarnation of the demon race, Panda's novel. Yun Chujio also frowned. She was not worried about how these two people would make things difficult for Goei Batsao. After all, before their goal was completed, they would not provoke the Zen sect too much. She frowned because she could not understand why she was blocked outside the mountain gate. Was it targeted at her or Goei Batsao? Just as she was thinking about it, she heard a crackling sound. When she looked closely, she felt her head hurt even more. Goei Batsao swept all the cups, bowls, and plates on his table to the ground. It was not enough to vent his anger, so he directly flipped the table over. Goei Batsao took the opportunity to wave his arm a few times. He felt much more comfortable. I think you should take a look at. He felt comfortable, and everyone was dumbfounded. This lonely little monk was too bold. This was the territory of the bitter Zen sect, and he actually dared to flip the table? Master Liao Wu secretly complained in his heart. He thought that lonely's core was the Buddha's candle, and he knew that it was very naughty. He could only hope that Yun Chujia's primordial spirit could restrain it. Seeing that Goei Batsao flipped over, Master Zuanzi's face immediately darkened. Lonely, what do you mean? Goei Batsao was already 80% drunk. He pointed at Master Xuanji and said, "You are the reincarnation of the demon race. Your entire family is the reincarnation of the demon race. This penniless monk is the son of Buddha. He has nothing to do with the demon race. What Buddha's eye demon discerning array? If I had to say, there is nothing at the mountain gate. It must be that your bitter Zen sect has used some means to frame this penniless monk." The meeting hall was dead silent. Everyone stared at the furious, lonely little monk with their mouths agape. Was this still that innocent and harmless, lonely little Buddha? This was simply no different from a scoundrel in the marketplace. Yun Chujio was so angry that she was twitching. The persona that she had painstakingly built up was all destroyed by this damn Goei Batsao. Master Liao Wu also felt a little pain in his head. He quickly said, "Evil creature. Why aren't you sitting down? What nonsense are you spouting?" Goei Batsao wanted to continue cursing, but when he saw Yun Chujia's gloomy expression, he finally sobered up a little and sat down awkwardly. Master Liao Wu put his palms together towards Master Xuanji. Amitabha. This evil disciple of mine had some changes in his temperament due to a mistake in his cultivation. In addition, people who cultivate Buddhism are most afraid of being called devils, so it is understandable that he is so excited. Master Xuanji, please don't lower yourself to his level. Chapter 53:16 The people from the 10,000 Buddha's sacred palace. Master Zuanzi's face was as dark as water. He had always disliked lonely monk, and now that he was being scolded in public, it would be strange if his mood was good. He originally only wanted to add trouble to Master Liao Wu and didn't really intend to do anything to lonely monk, but now he had changed his mind. This lonely monk had a belly full of bad water. Getting rid of him first would also be beneficial to the next plan. Thus, he said, "Master Liao Wu, if he only offended me with words, I won't hold it against him for your sake. However, this is related to the demon race, so we have to act cautiously." When Master Liao Wu heard him say this, his heart sank. He knew that he definitely had a backup plan. As expected, Xian Ji continued, "How about this? Our bitter Zen sect has a pagoda of refining demons. It was given to us by the 10,000 Buddha's sacred palace thousands of years ago. If you are not a demon, you will be safe and sound in the pagoda. If you are a demon, you will be trapped in the pagoda and eventually turn into nothingness. For the sake of prudence and to clear Lone's name, let him try entering the pagoda of refining demons. He Xinjia's heart immediately sank. Although she did not know whether she was a demon or not, her father and mother were very likely to be demons. She might really be a demon. Moreover, she was a ghost ancestor and a monster ancestor. She might even be inextricably linked to the demon race. If she entered that so-called devil refining pagoda, would she still be able to survive? Therefore, she could not enter no matter what. Thinking of this, she said to Goei Batsao, it's fine if you were fooling around before. This time, you must do as I say. Do you hear me? Although Goei Batsao was a little drunk, it also knew that this matter was very important, so it immediately nodded. Goei Batsao did as Yun Shujiu taught it. It sneered and said, Devil refining pagoda? Who knows whether it is the devil refining pagoda or not? Maybe you are targeting this penniless monk because of the last 10,000 Buddha's grand meeting and want to take this penniless monk's life. Master, I think the bitter Zen sect is lying about the Buddhist light in the sea of clouds. They want to kill us both. If that's the case, what's the point of us staying here? Let's go now. Master Xuanji, Lonesome's words may not be pleasant to hear, but they make sense. Our Zen sect is the holy land of Buddhism, and Lonesome worships the Buddha in the 1,000 Buddhas cave. He has always been fine. Why is he being slandered as a devil by you? It seems that there is no need for us to stay. Farewell. Master Liaowu stood up and was about to leave. Of course, he did not want Lone to enter the devil refining pagoda. After all, the Buddha's candle had the bell of dawn and the wooden fish of evening in it. If it was really refined, their Zen sect would suffer a great loss. Moreover, this little girl called him master. He could not just watch her enter a dangerous situation. Perhaps the devil refining pagoda was a harmful thing. Xianji didn't expect Master Liaowu to have such a big reaction. After weighing the pros and cons in his heart, he decided to give up on letting Yun Shujiu enter the devil refining pagoda. At this moment, a monk ran in a panic. Master, someone from the 10,000 Buddha's sacred hall has come. As soon as the monk said this, everyone stood up. What? Someone from the 10,000 Buddha's sacred hall had come? In the eyes of these people, the 10,000 Buddha's sacred hall was a lofty existence. They looked up to the people of the divine enlightenment continent as if they were mortals looking up to immortals. They didn't expect to see people from the 10,000 Buddha's sacred hall in their lifetime. They were surprised, happy, and a little nervous. You're tuning into the Romantic Tales YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.